We are back. We're alive. I feel like I was cheated the last show. Feel like
Really?
that's you on the back. In the back, I hear it.
I
So
know.
I feel like I was cheated the last show. I feel like I had more to give, and I was cheated on my giving. We're back
Why do you
on
feel like
to
you were cheated
yeah
when
on to a new show.
you have those
Hey,
same
Crystal.
links that will be here? So why do you feel like you were cheated?
I feel like the audience needed more information. Like there was more to give, and we didn't give everything we needed to give. That's what I feel like.
You think it was not going to get? It's not going to get out at all. Do you think the person that who you are right now is not going to get that information out?
Nancy,
I
I
even
can't.
challenge you to hold those three links to the like nothing
It
in those
ain't even
three
three.
links are
It
going to
ain't. It ain't. It's
disappear
not
next
three
week.
links. It's not three links. It's 7 or 10. It's more
Why?
than that.
Well, you're gonna have to tighten up then.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Nisi, it's never 15 minutes. Don't
8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I had 12 more things to discuss. I had topics. I had topics. How big as I say? Give me back my stuff. Give me back. I'm reclaiming my time.
this is Howie Lennox.
I'm reclaiming my time.
This is how it's all your time. This is like,
I'm reclaiming my time. Welcome back. I don't know if Tashika, if you still out there or whatnot. Toya, welcome back. Tech Tech Girl Christian. Hey, Nisi. It ain't gonna be no 15 minutes. That's a whole 2 hours. It's a whole 2 hours.
it went from 3 links to 15.
You said 3 links. I knew exactly how many links it
I mean, you
was.
only went through 3 links.
Yeah, I had things to give. Shout out to the men that came on up on the last show. Ray, Shahid, we thank you for coming up, expressing where you're at, what you're looking for. Ray, this is for you. JC, I don't know if he's out there. Randy, you might want to hit JC up if you're out there, Randy. This is for you. Atisha, this is for you. You all been asking me these questions about paths and what it looked like. Those that came to the meetup on Wednesday, it's a semi recap, but not all the way. Um, but again, the meetups, I do deep dives in the meetups a little bit more. I think we stayed on a extra 30 or 40 minutes on Wednesday to talk about pretty much everything, right? So today is a contribute day from everybody. But I'm gonna give you what I got, and then we'll go from there. So today is more or less about where to find the information in terms of paths. What does that look like for you? I need to get logged in to Coursera too as well, um, and here I'll bring them over as well. We're gonna talk about it um, and go from there. So, you ready to get started, D? All right. I'm Tam. This is, did I do it right? I did it right this time. This is
Do you
the,
have your screen?
oh, hold on. And we are Women in Linux. You can find us on social media everywhere at Women in Linux. Let me get my screen shared here. There we go. If you want to connect with us after we get off the show, you can hit us up in Slack. Connect with us there. Put in your email, hit the Slack application on your desktop or on your phone, or you can use it via web browser or so forth. If you want to shop, we still have the old shop up. We should be getting new shirts coming up. No estate, no date. D, did you want to do a preview?
No.
Okay. No preview? Okay. All right. What's the other one we supposed to have? No estate, no date. Um,
Out the trust instead of out the mud.
that's right. Out the trust. Out the trust instead of out the mud. How did you get this? I got it out of the trust.
Out the trust.
I got it out of the estate. We don't want to get it out of the mud. That's not our goal here. That's not what we're pushing here. Right? That's not our goal. It's not our goal. Um, And then last but not least, if you want to donate, you can donate with your time, by sharing this stream, by getting more people to sign up. We hit 2,400. I appreciate you all. We got 2,400 subscribers on our YouTube. We appreciate it. Last episode
Thank
was
you.
70. I think we're on 43 or 44. I think it's two 42s up there, D-Bot. That's what I was saying. I think we're on 44.
Oh, I got you. I'm in here changing it now.
I think we're on 43 or 44.
It's gonna be 44.
Okay, we're on 44. Okay, yep. We're on 44. So episode 44. We started Highway Linux afterwards because tech stocks and jobs was really about IPOs, and I had IPO information about upcoming IPOs. I had that on there. Um oh no, can we do a part two of tech stocks and jobs today? Maybe we do a part two of tech stocks and jobs. We'll be back. How about that? Can we do a part two? What you thinking?
Okay.
You gonna need a nap?
I made whole breakfast while we were on the last show. I was like, this is gonna be, you gave me like a disclaimer warning, and I was like, let me try that now. Cheers to the great internet that we have over here at the villa. But hey, I'm ready.
Okay, maybe we'll do a part two. I'm
Or it
excited.
could be like a let's chat, or she's got all this energy now. It's amazing. Right now. Might not be that in like 3 or 4 hours.
Ready? Okay. Uh,
Lots of monks are gonna,
hey, the monk. They should have been monks.
I just read an article basically that said the vasectomies are on the rise. I was like, really? You don't say. Should have been on the rise. I mean, if you think about it, given what's going on in the world right now, it's like we have all these contraceptives for women, but for men, it's like you use the prophylactic or you get a vasectomy. It's like no in between. It's like now they're coming out with the pill, but it's just like, is the man going to take a pill? Or are you going to take a pill, my G? Like, are you going to do that? But we have all these things, and it's just like, wear a condom, get a vasectomy. Oh, and with the vasectomy, you have options. You can get like burn your tubes, or you can tie them so you can untie them. But craziness, absolutely craziness.
Yeah, because back in the day. Well, not back in the day. This is what most of the time. Don't bring it up on screen, D Block. This is most time what y'all been doing. Let me skip through this ad real quick. I'm on a different profile. Let me go to my profile. Go on my profile.
Man, that don't look like no color to me, man. You sure?
That's what y'all been doing.
Sure.
Tell the club up, 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 tell the club up.
They've been shoot that club up. That's what they've been doing. Shoot the club up. Yes, hey girl Christian, we can now ask them, you on the pill? What you doing about that? You on the pill?
Y'all been walking around.
You know, that's one of my dating questions. Like, if you don't want any kids, are you willing to get a vasectomy? Like, it's estate planning at the end of the day. It's estate planning. Like, if you don't want any kids and you have not cut off the river, what does that tell me? I got options.
Yep. Engineering cannabis, that's right. That's Cody. So on dates, bring your credit score, your last pay
No,
stub,
see,
and your
you
past two
went
years.
you went way
No,
over that. You
listen,
way over that. I
bring
said
your
that is my date question. I don't say which date that is. However, at this stage in the game, most men that I meet have at least 1.1 children. 1.5, because I'm gonna say that it's a man and it's gonna have one kid and a dog. So 1.1, 1.5 children. So I think it's a question. I mean, for me, and actually, it's like an inside joke for myself because I'm just like, somebody, the right one come along, you be like, whatever she wants, that's my baby.
That's my baby.
That's my
My
baby.
baby.
Me and my baby are gonna have kids.
She's my baby.
No, it's okay not to have one with me, or you don't want to co-parent with the particular man, and then the one comes along and you be like, I'm having every last one of his babies. It happens like that. So no. But yes, I do agree that it is less invasive or disruptive. I mean, your hormones as women are all over the place. They just try to level everything out. And then you have to try so many, and then it's expensive.
And that's the other part, like people don't want to talk about. I had made a comment on the show the other day, and about the having a baby is a sacrifice for some women, and people were like, you don't get points for the sacrifice. It's not a sacrifice. I'm like, you're missing what I'm saying. It doesn't matter the age of the woman. Some women can't carry babies to term. Some women just can't. Some women can't have kids. Some men can't have kids. Some men are not producing enough strong swimmers to have kids. Like people don't want to have that conversation. They want to have the
Yeah.
conversation about like it's just you gonna get with that person and y'all gonna have a kid, and it don't work like that.
Yeah. Fertility issues are can happen on both ends. You know, it's just the facts of life. And then you might end up adopting. But, those are conversations to be had and a part of estate planning. Because at the end of the day, if you are planning everything else, why not plan that? Because, I mean, hey, like I said, it's expensive. It's going to cost you one way or the other. That's like healthy food and trash food. The trash food is 1 cent. You get 5 nuggets for 10 cents. A head of lettuce costs you $55. Don't let it be organic. It's gonna cost you. So
Yeah, and then that's the other thing that I don't think people want to have an honest conversation with about. I don't know. mm, This is my own personal experience. I didn't think that when men get older, y'all just be strong, like y'all be out there like this, and you don't. Y'all might be out there like this. Like you don't be that strong. It don't be as strong anymore. It don't be like this. It may be like that, or I mean, there's so many things that go into
Maybe
that.
like this.
It's just being honest, and this is the thing that men that I find in a lot of spaces don't want to talk about it because we are women and we experience this, right? And sometimes it don't be bad diet. Sometimes it just be that
It just be your genes, and it just be time, like over time. Some things happen. Like I've been like, I'm trying to ask myself, like, am I pre-menopausal? And then you ask your parents like their history. My mom's like, oh, that didn't happen till way in my 50s. So it's just like, okay, maybe it's something else. My friend that's a nurse said, go check your thyroid. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna go check that. Things just happen in time. Your eyes naturally get weak around your 40s. And so that's why most people need reading glasses. It's just what happens. Your body gets naturally tired around 3 o'clock. It's just what happens. And you can, and then even if you can perform, sometimes you just don't want to. So,
Tech girl Krista said higher cases of schizophrenia in kids with elder dads.
oh, those geriatric babies, they be having a whole bunch of problems. And even in late 40s, in your 40s, those are considered geriatric pregnancies. And I know we can have children longer in life, later in life, but those still are considered high risk pregnancies. That's why these eggs over here is powdered.
You like
I don't want the
LeBron?
baby on no cane.
You,
Like,
you,
where we going? Like, older than me? No, no.
you may not have that problem.
And autism, you know, developmental issues. Your it increases the amount of twins as you get older. So, I mean, shoot, in the U.S. for Black women, pregnancy is an issue. Period.
Mhm.
Like, they will leave you stuck.
So that's where we're at. Um, on that, I just want people to, be thinking about these things again. Estate planning, your health, or your wealth. Health is wealth. However you want to slice that up as well too. But and last but not least, um, the other part of all of this, the health conversation is how much does it cost?
Hmm.
How much does all this cost? What are we
Right.
talking about in cost wise? From you need to have uh, um, an emergency surgery for something or whatever, right? That's what we need to kind of read some literature on the subject, right? Make sure that's included for some people. Like I say, I know a guy who went into the doctor and was complaining about his neck and didn't know what was going on with him, and the doctors kept doing scans and stuff like that and kind of find out he had stage 3 cancer in his neck, and they like you got to go into immediate surgery now. So, you know, it happens, right? And he go to the doctor every year, to a couple of times a year, faithfully. They never found it. So, but they misdiagnosed him and saying that maybe he was just having headaches, giving him stuff for migraines. And the one migraines, it was cancer that had formed in his neck, and he had to have emergency surgery to have it removed. That very same day, they told him to call his family, and your family need to fly in, but you're going into surgery right now. And they took him straight to where he was at the doctor's office, admitted him into the hospital, and proceeded. And his family had to fly down, but he was going in right then and right there. So they weren't gonna wait 2 weeks. They was like, "You're going in today." Yeah. So call everybody you need to call, but you're going in today, buddy. So never know. All right. So we had some good questions on tech stuff um on the last show. And I actually was gonna cover it on this show. So let's get into some things. All right, a lot of people reach out to us and they're like, "How do I get started? Where do I get started in tech?" And I kind of covered this on a couple of shows, and I've talked about this a lot. But let's give two perspectives here. We'll give a perspective from Dee's perspective, and we'll give a perspective from Tamika's perspective. Um, you can also, let me say this, you can also do one-on-ones with us, because I know a lot of people don't want to talk about stuff live or be in the comments and so forth and so on. But let's put that out there. You can hit us up on Calendly to have a. Did I say it wrong again? Calendly,
No, I just
Calendly.
crack up because I know it's coming out backwards.
Oh, from me.
Yes,
What is it?
Calendly.
Calendly.
Yeah.
Whatever. That thing that you can set up appointments to have one-on-ones, right? And then the next one is also IT Pro TV, get 30% off if you use the code Women in Linux. And I'll go over IT Pro TV as well too. All right, so let me give you my perspective, or do you want to go first, D? You want to give from your perspective about getting
Oh,
it tech?
let's go from your perspective because you didn't post what was the topic from your perspective. Or what were
Okay.
you chatting about from your
No, to get
perspective?
into tech, right?
Oh,
So
getting into your entry point into tech.
yeah,
What was your journey?
yeah. So from my perspective, again, keeping a journal every day, and then
Well, first of all, let's back up because I think this is a big question in people's head is like how old do you have to be? Like, you know, to get into tech because you weren't like fresh. I'm not gonna say fresh face because 20s is fresh face still, but you didn't go straight to college and be like, I'm getting this. Like, and you went to college and then was like,
well, I mean,
I'm taking a break.
there's multiple ways to get into tech, but
But
um,
this is your journey though. This is your what you
well,
did.
do I want to give my journey, or do we want to just give
No,
a?
I'm just saying, like, you were what age when your journey started?
Mm,
Because when it started and when it ended up, it's a time.
so
It's
do
not
we?
like 6 months.
So do we want to talk about when I graduated from high school in '93, and then pick back up in '95?
So when you went to Georgia State, were you going to Georgia State to
I picked back
study
up in
technology?
'97.
Huh?
I well, when I picked, yeah,
Okay. So that's when your journey,
yeah,
your career started.
yeah. I started
Learning
it.
tech.
I started in '93. I partied in
Did you say you partied?
yeah, party. Uh, I was part of the theater club. I was mayor.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
that
Yeah.
was that was mayor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So '93, I was playing tunk. I was skipping classes, like I said, playing spades.
You was out in these streets.
No, I wasn't out in the streets. I was out. I wasn't out in the streets like that. I
What
was
do you
out.
consider the streets? Because you was in the streets.
No, I wasn't in the streets.
He was in the
Not,
streets.
no, I wasn't in the streets.
I didn't say you belonged to the streets. I said you
No, I
was in.
wasn't in. No, I wasn't in the streets. That's what I'm saying. I wasn't.
So where were you?
I remember I was still living at home with my mama, so I wasn't in the streets.
Oh, you guys are the worst ones. Y'all be in the street.
No, that's you.
I hadn't lived at home with my mom in forever. I lived with my
That's you.
grandmother. She
Okay.
had played zero games, and I didn't give her no reason to play no games with her. Like I
Let
didn't.
you gonna interrupt my story.
Go ahead.
All
So you
right.
partied and played talk and was in the streets.
See,
93, you're a young chap. You're 19. 93, 19.
you have to remove her from the string because she gonna tell my story.
I'm just recapping the story.
Don't recap nothing. Just be quiet.
Kneecaps.
Just be quiet. All right. So in '93, I started. I went to college. I didn't have any money. My mama told me, I have no money for you for college. My first semester, I didn't have any money. I took an emergency loan out to go to school. I went to my dad to ask him to pay for that emergency loan. And then I asked my mom for $200 for books. She said, I'm gonna give you the $200, but you gotta pay me back when you get paid. And I paid her back when I got paid. And after that, I was just really on my own for college. And then from there, I was still working at Wendy's. I worked at Wendy's on the weekends for 4 years. For 4.5 years, I worked at Wendy's, pulling 12-hour shifts just to have some money. And then when I got when I knew I was done with college at that time, I had been skipping class because I lived in Marietta, and I would have to catch the CCT, and then I would have to catch the train, and then and the train let me off at Georgia State. Then I come in and I do that. Lived in Marietta because the rent was $200 for the apartment,
Bet
but
that
you had
ride was 2 to 3.
but it was a room, right? You get a room. So then what I did was I had roommates and stuff like that. You were responsible for your $200. You didn't sign a lease for the whole apartment. You just had a room in a shared apartment. So what I did was after that, I was like, well, let me start working at Wendy's, and I worked at Walmart where I could walk to work, right? And I could get some time during the week and stuff like that. And then I got tired of Walmart. I got
So
tired of working
how long was that first chunk of school before you were like, I'm
uh
gonna take a break?
93 to probably 95, end of 93 to 95.
Okay, so you did
Now,
2 years.
93, 94, 94, 95 ish, somewhere right in
Okay,
there.
so let's say about 2 years in college, right? You did those were your prereqs, right? Your
Yeah,
freshman and
and but
sophomore year.
here's the other thing too that people don't talk about with college, especially coming out of the black community. And this is another thing that's a moneymaker. Because I came out, I had a 3.0 GPA, but back then, Georgia Georgia didn't recognize the 3.0s for the Hope Scholarship. So the reason
Can you
why I
tell
can't
people know every state doesn't have hope? Can you tell
hold,
them what hope is?
yeah, I will. Hold on. And so what they did, they went back and retroactivated that Hope Scholarship down to 3.0. So that means basically it's a scholarship for you if you maintain a 3.0 in school, that you can go to any public school in the state of Georgia on a scholarship, and you have to pass all your classes with at least B's and above. But I didn't do that. I partied. So I lost my scholarship. I lost my scholarship. We're gonna ignore um we're gonna ignore D. We're gonna remove her from the stream. I didn't party. I mean, I didn't pay attention and I was partying, right? So with that being said, when it came down to me re-entering back into school in 97, um, I had experienced life and
So that's a
work,
2 year gap.
well, probably more like 2.5 years,
Okay.
right? Because I didn't go back to like the summer of 90s, man, 98, 98, 98, 97, 98, 98, maybe 99, maybe 99. If I'm not mistaken, maybe 99. So we going from 95 to 99, so about 4 years, right? And then no, and then in that time, uh, computers became more popular. I took computer classes in high school, but computer classes like when I got the catalog for Georgia State, it said in order to attend classes here, you must have a computer, and I was like, I don't have no computer in this house. So I went to Sears and I bought a computer, a compact, everything off the shelf. But at the time, I had started working for General Motors, and I was putting carburetors and all that stuff on. So my job's been Wendy's, Walmart, General
GM.
Motors. I worked at Ford. I've sanded down cars. I have painted cars. I have put fiberglass firewalls on inside the cars, cabled up radios, just doing plant life. Just that's what you do on the line. It's plant life. You learn a job and you do it, right? So when I went back to school at that time, I was like, okay, what do I need? Here's the money that I've got saved up for this. And now at this point, it's you need to take out loans. So overall, from when I went back in probably 98, and I didn't graduate till 2007 because I had moved from Atlanta to Hawaii. I got married, moved to Hawaii, going to community college in Hawaii. But let me backtrack a little bit. What I was saying earlier about the classes that going from um being from a I don't want to make the excuse of being black, but oftentimes a lot of colleges put black students in remedial classes
Mm-hmm.
for English and for math based upon scores, or they looked at a transcript or something like that. And so what happened to me, they put me in remedial English.
Mm.
And so I had to take remedial English first and pass that essay before I could really take a English class, right? So though that remedial class doesn't count towards anything, you just in a
Like a
remedial,
prep course that you had to pay for in the
right?
semester. So it's
And
adding a course.
right. And when I was in the class, the teacher asked me, "Why are you here?" Because you understand English quite well, and you understand how to
Maybe
construct.
looking like English was a second
I was
language.
like, that's what they told me I needed. And she was like, you should have contested that. You don't need this class.
Oh yeah.
And then when I looked across the room, it was all black students, right?
But what's crazy, sidebar with that those counselors will make or break you in
Yep,
your college career.
yep, yep. And
Yeah.
so when I finished that course and moved on into regular English, they was just like, why are you here again? Like, because the high school that I had went to, we took prep college courses for English and math. And so they were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you did that, but we're sensing that you may need to take this again, just for
Did they say like? But did you have to test into the institution that you were going to?
Yeah, you had to take the SAT for Georgia State. You had to take the
No,
SAT.
no, no. I'm talking about the school in Hawaii.
Oh no, in Hawaii, the it was a community college. So when I took my credits from Georgia State over to a community college, Honolulu Community College. That's where I went. And when I got there, um, uh, I'd be the first one in class. I, do everything, and I was taking classes and getting A's, and that's where I picked up Linux at while I was in Hawaii. So um, by the time I got to Seattle and going to community college there just to get the gen ed stuff, just general stuff taken care of, and then when I started applying for University of Washington was like, we're not gonna take none of your credits. And they were like, you're gonna have to start all over again with everything. It's like, we're not gonna take your English, we're not gonna take your math, we're not gonna take nothing.
Why did they say that? Did you contest that?
No, I just said I'm just not going to that college.
Oh, because I had to contest some things, and I had a whole AA degree,
Yeah.
and I was just like,
Yeah.
Clark, you're
So
not gonna take this Spanish?
yeah, so University of Washington. I went to community college. They was like, we may take your English, but we're not gonna take your we'll take your physics, but your calculus. I think I had got a C in one of my calculus classes, and so they're like, we're not gonna take anything. So so by that time, I would have had to start all over again, just like I would had at Georgia State. And so instead of me being done with school in 2 years, I would have had to have been done in school in 4 or 5 years. And I was like, I'd have spent all this money to do X, Y, and Z. I'm not doing it. So I was like, well, and a lot of people don't like these paid for colleges. So I was just like, I went to University of Washington Tacoma. I started there. I worked there, and while I was there, I didn't feel like the teachers were helpful. Like I think they just assigned stuff and didn't really help. So I was like, I don't think I particularly like this. So I found DeVry and I went to apply. And of course, they're like, hey, you got some money, or you got money, or you could get a loan,
Come
basically,
on,
come on in,
come
right?
on.
So they took my credits.
Hmm.
So they took my credits. I didn't have to start all over from scratch. I started learning the computer engineering side of what I was going to, but I had already started studying circuits before I got there because I knew what my major was, and I had followed the syllabus of those of the major institutions that I wanted to go to in the area. I would grab their syllabus and I would grab the classes and stuff of those of what they taught, and then I would buy the books and I would read the books. So by the time I got to class that's talking about, hey, you running resistors in parallel, or you're running resistors in series and step down transformers and stuff like that, I was already mentally prepped for that information already. So when I got into class, little things that were maybe fuzzy that didn't make sense to me was like, oh, that's what that meant. Okay, I read that and I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah,
And
okay.
that so and
Filled
that
in the blanks.
yeah, so it just filled in the blanks for me. So it may have looked like I was a know-it-all in the classroom. It wasn't that. It was just I was reading ahead of time because I didn't want to keep going backwards and keep going backwards and keep going backwards, right? I mean, there was a lot of nights that I cried because I felt like a failure. I felt like I wasn't never gonna. I felt like I was never gonna get to where I wanted to be. Like, why are you stopping me from getting this computer engineering degree? um why is this such a big hurdle? What is this hurdle that like, oh, you keep putting up roadblocks? It must mean got to be something on the other
What's
side.
on the other side? What
It's
are you
gotta-
keeping me from? I need to see it now.
yeah, yeah. And um and so when I took my fortunately enough, at the time when I was married, my ex-husband was a guru at physics and calculus. So he was able to teach me some of the things, but when he would go out to sea, I would really truly be on my own in trying to understand physics and calculus. And of course, derivatives and integrals are easy. Cal 1, Cal 2 is easy, but when you start getting to Cal 3 and dealing with X, Y, and Z coordinates and linear algebra and understanding how things look and how to deal how to deal with just in the X and Y plane, and what would it look like in the Z plane and all that. I was like, I don't see none of that shit. I was like, I don't see that shit. They was like, you don't see it. I was like, I don't see that shit. I see if it's a cow, it's a cow. If I see like I don't see a cow in the XYZ plane, triple integrals and all of that stuff, right? So it took a while for me to get used to some of that stuff and understand it. And then when I got finished with those classes, and I started learning Linux, and the my Linux career, I haven't used a triple integral for anything. It comes out now in machine learning and AI modeling and stuff like that, but I don't use triple integrals for anything. But those that are going down the AI, machine learning, and data science, that may come up there, but I'm not. That's not my space per se. When I say per se, meaning I can handle the infrastructure in which you're doing your models on, but I'm not doing models,
Right.
right? And so from that journey of calculus books and physics books, and having people over to the house to get to use to sit in the to be it'd be 10 of us in the living room, and my ex-husband may be teaching us, or I may take him to school with me, and the teacher don't show up and he teach the class, and we're having physics parties and take home exams and the whole nine, right? So we're doing all that kind of stuff, and to end up where I was then to where I am now has been, it's been a lifetime. But each year and I still do this now, I make sure that each year is a year of progression. If I don't get a certification, my income had to increase. If my income didn't increase, I have to move up a level in the job, or I gain a new position. If that doesn't increase, I've done something forward path moving to increase my wealth. But I was investing in stocks and things back when I lived in Washington, when I lived in the DMV area with Edward Jones. I had started my investments then, and the guy from Edward Jones came by the house, and he would say, "You need to do this investment, this investment, this investment," and I would do that then. And then from there, I would go to work and I would start looking at, well, what are they invested in, and I would ask questions about what people were invested in. And then my real true investment and knowledge of investment didn't really shape until I got to Sarasota. Like I say, when I drove into work that one day, and everybody is four Porsches and a lot. It is a RV there. It's a horse trailer on the back. It's a boat that's sitting in the lot because they're getting ready to go somewhere for the weekend. They're going fishing, and you've been down to Sarasota. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly who the people I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like that outlook changes, right? And the other thing that changed was, um whenever Linda would talk about, are you happy here, and did you go talk to the financial advisor, are you making investments, that was her way of making sure you do what you're supposed to do. This is what we're putting 25% of your salary into your 401k. Are you investing that wisely? Have you talked to a lawyer? Have you sat down and did and started looking at your estate? If you decide to get married again, you need to have prenups in place. Do not get married without a prenup. And that was just a thing. That was something that was just a thing. So the journey to where I'm at now, to be able to talk about this, that it's been, a roller
Years in
coaster
the
ride. It's
making.
been years in the making, though.
Right. But also I think it's common knowledge here that, you know, when you graduated from college, you had a job in tech already.
Before I graduated,
Yeah, before you graduated from
a
college,
year
you had a job in
a year
tech.
before, yeah,
Yeah. And so, you know, you were making money when you graduated, and your tech career, you did a upward movement from there.
right, right. But I did internships. I worked at the help desk and I did internships. But here's the flip side that I think um everybody is gaining, that I didn't get. I didn't have someone that I knew personally that I could reach out and talk to that knew Linux. I didn't have that person. I didn't have a person that looked like me, let's say
Right.
that. I didn't have a person that was already in the field doing it.
Right. And then how you had to get the information was different too. You
Right.
know, we went to the bookstore to get books on what we needed. You Barnes and Nobles is your friend. You know, the
Mhm.
internet back then were, you know, chat rooms and forums and things of that nature, the IRC, you know,
Mhm.
those type of things.
No,
Average person is not back there in the IRC.
yeah, Coda Evelyn. No, I didn't join. I didn't join Nesby because the journey that I was on when I looked at Nesby didn't have what I needed. There wasn't a Linux, there wasn't a talk about Linux. Of course, they were very traditional about engineering, like computer engineering, electrical, mechanical, aeronautical engineers. But when if I ever was in a circle and I brought up Linux to somebody, they would be like, you, it was like a naughty word. Oh my God,
They
clutch your
clutch their pearl.
pearls. Yeah, like that kind of thing. And what do you know about that? And at the time, when I was in Hawaii and taking my CCNA courses, one of my goals was to be a CCIE. And it was in Hawaii at the time, there were only two CCIEs in the whole area, in the whole Pacific realm is what they call it. And the Pacific realm was included Hawaii and Japan. And so those two CCIEs would go from island to island, and they would go over to Japan to do work. At the time, those two CCIEs, they knew each other, and at that time they were pulling anywhere from $200,000 to $400,000
And that was
at
back
that time.
then,
That was back then. That was back in 2000, 2001, 2001. Yeah, 2000,
20
2000.
years
But I was
ago.
in Hawaii in 2000. And so they were pulling 200,000 back then and then some, right? So they would go in and set up hospitals. They were the only two on the island. And they had, since they were the only two on the island, they had private jets that would take them from where they needed to go. Cisco funded those, so they were like, they were, to look for them as a mentor, get their time, was rare, but they did come to the class as, and they talked about their journey, and they were, let's see, probably 32 to 35, and they had private jets that were funded to them to take them from island to island or go over to Japan and so forth. And so I was like, shit, that's the kind of life I want.
Yes, yes.
I want to be on a private jet, to go from island to island to do work or whatnot. But it takes dedication and stuff. Because the CCNP at that time, you needed five, excuse me, exams, and then I think the CCIE, I think you may need it two more or three more on top of that. I don't know what it is now, to get a CCIE. They've changed Cisco's changed so much from then to now. When they broke up the CCNA into two parts, and now the CCNP and all the different routing protocols and stuff like that. I enjoyed it. Um, but that was it was a gateway drug to Linux for me. That's what that was. It was a gateway drug to Linux and security for me. That's how I looked at it.
Gateway drug.
Yep.
And if you look back on that journey,
Mhm.
would you do it the same way all over again, or would you tell yourself, what would you tell like your younger self?
To keep investing, when I got to DC, keep investing in the stocks that you were already in. Because at the time in 2008, I had owned, at the time, I had owned 20 shares of Amazon, in 2008, 20 shares of Google, 20 shares of Microsoft. That was my goal. 20 shares of every single thing, right? That was my goal. And then I started ciphering off the money. from those shares. Sell them shares. Give me my money. All right.
Cash it out for me.
Cash me. Cash
Cash it out.
me. Right. Before that, my younger self, I would have told myself to stay on the Hope Scholarship, but then I would have probably never been in Linux. I probably would have been a computer programmer because that would have been all I would have known,
What
and
they taught you.
because that's what all Georgia State had.
Oh, okay. You
Um,
wouldn't. You don't think you would have been exposed to the CCNA in any realm?
no, I wouldn't have been exposed to CCNA not while in school. I wouldn't have been exposed, and the only reason why I was exposed to CCNA is because at that time I used to hang out on the campus and talk to the teachers afterwards and talk to students and go to the labs and do extracurricular stuff, right? And the only reason why I know about the CCNA is because they had a truck on campus that was backed up to the elevator I was getting ready to use, and they had all this stuff, and I was like, what are y'all getting ready to do? They was like, we're getting ready to set up the lab for the Cisco stuff. I was like, what Cisco stuff? They was like, this campus is going to be the headquarters for Cisco for the Pacific Realm, for Cisco training, and they're opening up a lab here. And so I went upstairs, and it was two Hawaiian guys out there in their shirts, and they was like, did you come to sign up for the intro of the labs and stuff like that? I was like, no, but I guess I can. And they was like, yeah, sign up. So I went and signed up, and there's like, in a week we will have, you'll come over and we're gonna do an intro to the class. Bring your kids, bring your family members and everything. So I walked in, and me and my ex-husband, we walked in and we sat down. I looked around the room. I was like, okay, I'm the only woman and I'm the only black woman in here. It is what it is. And they was like, put your hands on the keyboard, follow these instructions, pass this test. Those that don't pass this test, you can leave. And I followed the instructions and I passed the test. It was a room of 40 of us, and it ended up being a room of 15 of us. I passed the exam. My ex-husband passed the exam, and they was like, "Well, you all are new students to learn Cisco. Here's where you need to go make your accounts and stuff at. Be ready to go next week." The class was $800, and we're gonna supply all the equipment. Welcome to day one of your boot camp. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then the first, really, the first class was 800, but the classes after that they charge people like 2,600 after that for that. But I got grandfathered in, so all my classes, all because they broke it up into 4 semesters, all my classes were $800. And so I would just, scrape to get my $800. I worked on the base, so Schofield Barracks, as they call it in Hawaii, the Makalapa Gate. I don't know if it's called Makalapa anymore. Makalapa Gate. You go through the Makalapa Gate in order to get to the computer lab and so forth. So I'll go to the computer lab, and then I also work at all the different bases. I would work at all the computer labs. So I will always be in the computer labs, and I'd be teaching. And a lot of the Hawaiian guys, they want Samoan. These guys want Samoan. They were just Hawaiian. They were probably more like Filipino, probably. They would show me what I needed to know, and like, hey, this is coming up. You need to be here and learn that. Do you know programming? Yeah. Well, what do you know? And I tell them what I know and what I was learning, and I would help other people out. So I always helped out in the labs. I was always the helper in the labs. But and then I just made it a point for myself to increase every single time, like I do now. Like, it's just ingrained in me. Like, if I'm not moving forward, it don't feel right.
Yeah, you get antsy. You'll talk like a good game, like, oh, I'm gonna take 6 months off. I need to do these things. And as soon as it be like 2 weeks, you be like, I'm about to go on this interview. I'm about to do, and I'm like, well, what happened to taking the break so that you can do ABC to get there? It's just not in
I try.
you. Yeah.
I try. But yeah. But that was my journey into tech, and then the how I got my very first full-time job. I was already doing Linux. I applied for a job working at University of Washington because I wanted to go to University of Washington. And I was like, man, maybe I get some discounts, or maybe I can backdoor this thing. Maybe I can find out the professors or something. Maybe I can figure out what I need. And applied for a job. I did the interview with Emily Bender, and then on that Friday, I was on the phone and talking to my homegirl who we knew in Hawaii, and she had moved back to St. Louis. And I was on the phone with her, and I was like, "Man, look at there! My very first full time job. My salary was 49,000 before I had graduated from college, and I didn't negotiate. I didn't even negotiate. I was just like, if that's what she said I'm worth, I'm gonna take it. Like I didn't even push back, and I didn't even ask for a sign on bonus. I was just like, it's 49,000. That's the most I ever made.
It's
I'm
better
like,
than no thousand.
it's the most I ever made. I'm gonna take that. Now that's why when people talk about 42,000 or 42,000 is the average earned income for black men and black women. This was back in 2006, 2005, 2006 that I made 49,000. All right. So for me, and you have to forgive me on this one, I can't imagine making 49,000 now
Now.
in this economy and the way things are. I can't, that doesn't make sense to me,
Right. Right.
because I know exactly what 49,000 looks like back then, and what that would look like now would not make sense to me. And it's not me being arrogant. It's just I just know how much things cost.
That's 20-year span.
Right.
Like, it's not possible to be living on the same salary. It's not with inflation. So
Right.
yeah, it
When
makes
that,
sense.
now that you bring that up, this goes into another conversation, off topic, but same things along the same lines. The guy that worked at Burger King for 27 years.
The goodie bag.
Yeah. Do you know how much money that he's probably missed out on in 27 years? Just think about it. Think about how many raises, how many sign on bonuses like he has missed out on, right? If he just, then you have to ask, well, who was he married to? Was he married to somebody? Do you
Or
know
if
anybody?
we don't know if he was
I
special
don't.
needs. I mean, there's so many questions about this
I
man
don't.
that we like. I need more answers.
It's just 27 years is a long time. Like, is he
That is a
maxed out?
lifetime.
Yeah, is he maxed out at as the maximum raise that he can get? They can't give him no more money. So has he been making the same amount of money for the last 16 years?
Was it a corporate franchise? Was it a corporate Burger King? Was it a franchisee Burger King? What was set up? So many questions.
Yep. And
So
so,
many questions.
yep. So, I hope, drop a one in the chat if my story inspired you or made sense to you. Drop a one in the chat. Is it worth it to transform from a developer to role to a DevOps role? No, I think Chris, I think it would be worth your perspective, and we're gonna go over that today, to go to a SRE because you're already coming from a developer's background. SRE and developers, or SRE has a developer mindset included in it, and then DevOps a little bit, not as much, and then observability. I think that's what it is. Yeah, they needed to promote him, or he needs to move on. The last time I checked, he got 50,000. He got 200,000 from the GoFundMe. He got 200,000 from the GoFundMe, right? But I wanted to give that journey because a lot of you ask me stuff like, "Can I do this in 6 months?" And the answer to your question is yes, no, maybe so,
Yes and no.
right? The answer to your question is, and I think some of you will have to be realistic about who you are and what your situation is. I think a lot of times you come in, you say I'm gonna do it in 6 months, but you work a full-time job, you have a child, you're trying to get married, you want to go travel, you want to be city boys up 1,000 for the summer, city girls up 1,000 for the summer. Y'all outside, you want to be outside.
With college loans and credit card debt,
You want to be outside,
and
and
want to close on a house.
yeah, you wanna buy new houses, you wanna invest, you wanna do all this, and you're trying to do all of this in 6 months, and you only make $40,000, and you don't want to pay for no certifications, and you don't want to pay for the exam, and you don't want to pay for the babysitter, and you don't want to pay for to go out on the date. You want her like there's so many things that go on, right? You know what I'm saying? So the question I always ask, and I'm gonna always ask you if you do a one-on-one with me, what is your end goal? What is your end goal? If your end goal is to be at, um, let's say you at 36,000 and you want to be at 49,000. Sir Harold Speaks, what's going on? And you want to be at 49,000. Let's talk about it. What does that look like, right? We have to be honest with ourselves. Like, what's your end goal? Is your end goal to have, um and me and Dee were talking about this. I want to create a, not necessarily a journal, but a I guess a portfolio or something like that. And say, okay, look, and it goes back to that 9 buckets that we were talking about. Here's your 3 bucket strategy for tech. Here's your 3 bucket strategy for wealth. Here's your 3 bucket strategy for whatever it is that you wanna do, like short term, long term. I mean, now short term and long term. Short term and then long term. 3 buckets: tax free, after taxes, and tax deferred. Like, what does that look like? I want people to start thinking like, when you're making moves in tech, what bucket is that you're putting that into, and how is that bucket going to help you now? How is that going to help you in your short term, and how is that going to help you in your long term? I always go back to these things and say, well, what are you going to do with your what are you going to do with this sign-on bonus? That, like, I pulled up that one job, the sign-on bonus is 15,000. That's negotiable, right? You probably gonna ask for 30,000, right? Just throwing it out there. And so you, after 30,000, they gonna whack off, 30% of that, right? So what are you really left with, right? What are you gonna do with that money? Can you go buy real estate with that money? Most people are like, well, I'm gonna pay my bills, or you gonna pay yourself first, and you're gonna reward yourself, right? A lot of people do that, but then the question is, what are you rewarding yourself with? Is it income producing? What does that look like, right? So again, it gets back into that strategy. I saw, Stacy, you said you did 6 months. Yep. It's definitely a commitment. It's a dedication. Um, you know, Going out to eat. And I don't know if you're like me, if you're anything like me, when it's time to go out, like if I'm studying and it's time to go out to eat, I'm looking at the time like, I eat, then I gotta go back home. It's C19 out here. I need to shower. I'm gonna be tired. I just lost 3 hours. Damn. I just lost 3 hours. Then so if you anything like me, you like, let me order it. Thank you for the 4.99 super chat. Sir Harold speaks. Let me order it and let me go ahead and study until it gets here. Let me take a shower and then let me eat. And then I don't feel like I lost 3 hours, right? I don't feel like I lost 3 hours. But that's just how I am. I get antsy like that. Like I'm always like, okay, what I need to read, how I need to do this, what books can I grab? I'm always like that. It says, whether you want to make enough or more money to be able to build a couple of services from the ground up in the long run and create a good estate. See, so Marshana, I got a lot of questions on that. I got a lot of questions about that because the first question is going to be, what services are you talking about, and why you're trying to build them from the ground up versus going to buy them, that are already in need. D, take me off camera for a hot second. Let me grab a newspaper article real quick. I don't think I have any of them in here with me.
Thank you, Zahara, for the chat. 4.99 super chat.
I got one right here. All right, so look, um, right here. Let me put that up. Tampa Bay Business Journal. Every major city, except for whatever reason, I don't think Denver has one. I got to double check that. Has a business journal. Why are you talking about this business journal? Well, this goes to your question, Mashana. A lot of times, a lot of companies, they post that they are going either bankrupt, or they're looking for somebody to kind of swoop in and kind of save the day. So in here, you'll find, and let me go to the section here. Um, this is how I keep up with a lot of things, right? So in here, they have a section in here called leads. If you can see that, they got a section here called leads. And in this section that they have called leads, they have somebody made a purchase on a commercial real estate, or a company that's going under, or who applied for a building permit in a residential area. They'll have commercial real estate. They'll have, let me show you what else they got in here. I'm going through it, and I get them every week. I mean, every month. I get them every month. And then they have a breakdown by.
No, they come every week.
They come every week. Okay, they
Yes.
come every week. I got a breakdown by county of like restaurants that are opening up, or restaurants that need to be bought, and what is their situation. So they have a, like here, state tax liens, business taxes, construction liens, right? So there's tax liens and so forth. So then my question would be, what kind of services are you trying to build where you can already go buy a business that has the type of service that you're looking at, and then they already have customers, and so you can take that and use that to build off of. So I mean, those are kind of questions that I would have, right? Just throwing it out there. And then the other thing I would have is market research. How much market research have you invested into that, and what does that look like for you long term, right? Long term planning, right? What's the short term? I'm thinking short term. What can you do right now? Funding and so forth. So I got an audit. It's the business journal. You just go to businessjournals.com. Businessjournals.com. DYU in the back.
Yes, I'm listening.
Just trying to figure out why you in the back. D, you remind me of a teacher that don't play. Yes, that is D.
And
Is
the
this an
kids love
example?
me, and I still don't play well.
You say, is this an example of a ghost business? You asking me, or you asking Michelle? Michelle. Productive people are cognizant about time, very cognizant about time. I'm not always on time, but I'm very cognizant about it. But yes, so D, the tables have now turned. We're on you. What has your journey? When did your journey begin in tech, and what has that been like for you?
Um, what we usually tell people is that my journey in tech met it began when I met you.
It began when I got you off the corner when you was out there. You was like, P Valley didn't accept me for a role, and I was like, girl, you ain't got to strip. Let me show you what this is.
I swear. I swear. I swear. You ain't got to be out like that,
You
girl.
ain't got to be out there like that.
No, that is not it.
Girl, you ain't got to be out
No.
there like that. The you ain't got to be on the pole all your life. You can't be 50 and turned upside down in the club, girl.
Why not?
No.
Why not? Let me be free. If I still got it, let me give it.
We're gonna put you in the Claremont Lounge.
Ooh, no, I'm not ready for Claremont yet. I got a couple more years in me. I got a couple more in me for the Claremont. Um, but you know, as you know, we've been doing Women in Linux for 5 years now, so I've had a chance to kind of reflect on, when did that journey begin? Because also what I was doing had to be a spark for you to say, you will be great in tech. I'm not ready for the flame.
Nick 1, Nick 2.
I'm not ready for nothing in the South. Put me back in California, over in Europe, where I'm just
Nick
a woman.
1, Nick
I don't have
2.
that. That's too much energy. They work hard. I am a component of the keep it simple, stupid method. Like that. That's too much hard work.
Nick
Once
1,
I
Nick
went to
2.
Paris and saw them walking and strutting in their little lingerie, I was like, oh, it's a whole other life out there. I'd rather lose weight and go strut my stuff on the dance floor. Market research as well as books.
Yeah, when you say Mark, does anyone know any good sites involving market? Which one on market research? Because if you're talking about companies, I would say PitchBook, but
And
that's a
also
whole nother level.
the if you have a library card and the library is online, they have a whole bunch of databases that you have access to that has a lot of research for free that people really don't know about, that they don't use, rather, because I would use them with my real estate clients as far as gathering demographics, for different types of searches, different type of businesses, and tell you the demographics based on ethnicity, age, how much they spend, the businesses, the foot traffic, the traffic count, how many lights are in the area. So it just depends on what type of information that you are looking for. But the library does have a lot of stuff. And I think it says market research and data the last time I looked. But again, I look back over that, and growing up, I knew one person with a computer in their house, and so I had a private school education and still knew one person, and I ended up going to public school for 2 years. But um, my college, my high school, we had computer lab, and so I would, you know, I am. My mother calls me OCD, but I'm quite organized and I'm quite resourceful, and so I was the one that organized everybody for study groups and things of that nature. When I I went to college, since you went back to that journey for yourself. Um, when I went to college, I went to a junior college because I worked my senior year, so I didn't have time to study for the SAT. So I already told myself that I was going to give myself uh, 2 years at a junior college, get an AA, and take all of the prerequisites for a state school or university, so that I can go to my school of choice at the end of that 2 years. I was going to prepare and prep my resume for my senior year, for my up, what do they call that second half of your year, your upper class year, your upper class years,
Sophomore?
huh?
Talking about your sophomore?
No, when you're a junior. So when you're in a 2 year junior college, you do freshman and sophomore, and then you do your junior senior when you transfer somewhere else. So I made sure that the college that I wanted to get into would happen to be Clark Atlanta University at the time. I was going to, or a state school somewhere. I didn't know. I just had Clark in my mind, that I was going to make sure that I did everything where they couldn't deny me. So I stayed there to pad my resume at junior college, and I just tested in, so I didn't have to take the SAT route. And I know for some people, they're just not good test takers, but going into the junior college, I think it's just like a standard math, English, to for them to gauge where your levels are at. Like Tam said, she got put in remedial English. It could have been based off of low test scores for that particular test to get her in college. So while I was there, I did everything. This I get under I get no I because all 4 years are undergrad. So this was just, I guess you're they call them upperclassmen, lowerclassmen. So I did everything while I was at junior college. I joined all the organizations. I was signing up. I was going to BSU. I was in work study. I would go to the student body meetings. I end up asking so many questions. They nominated me for uh, the something of the student activities. I was on the board at school. I was on the student body at school, and I was just like, how did I get here? And luckily, though, one thing that I can say that was a little different from Tamika, even though she lived in Atlanta and I lived in California. For my junior college years, we had my guidance counselor. She was a Black woman, Miss Mouton, and Miss Mouton had a pilot program that they were testing um, at our junior college, and basically it would be a mini all Black college within our organization, and it was for 2 years. And so all of my professors were Black and all of the students were Black, and so basically our my 2 years at junior college ended up being mapped out for me. And all I had to do was like do those like extra activities that I was doing. So it was an awesome experience because those friendships, I still have those friendships. And we worked hard and we pushed each other so much to get through that stuff, because math was a doozy. And I would call it cooperative education. And we would go in there and we would knock that math out. And for people who didn't have cars and people who had cars, we would pick each other up, or you had to catch the bus to school. They would drive you home. I mean, it was really, really, really a great thing. And we graduated from we had two graduations. We had a graduation from the program, and we had a graduation from the college. So that was super cool. Um, then and I was about when by the time I graduated there, I was 21. And so I finally got accepted to Clark, and I went on to Atlanta. You know what? I don't want to say I never went to the mixer, because when I was in school, I went to school activities. But when I got to Atlanta, I didn't go to the mixer. I went to the club. I didn't go to the mixer because I had finally was 21, and even though they had, back then they had 18 and up clubs, I tried not to go to the club because I didn't want to be burnt out. As I didn't want to be burnt out, so I really waited until I was 21 to really go and do some stuff. So I moved to Atlanta, and that Atlanta was Atlanta, and I had been before because I had got a college tour there. So in high school, I went on a college tour to Atlanta to the AUC, which is Morris Brown, Clark, Spelman, and Morehouse. And so I did that tour in high school, and then I went back in '95 for Freaknik, and we had friends. So my best friend at the time was at Tuskegee, so she met me down. So I've known Atlanta, but to know Atlanta as you know your legal self and to go and get in places and have your friend group, take you to all these places, it can be overwhelming. It can be. No, we didn't do any sororities. Forgive me, but I almost had to beat the girl up. She was my sweet mate, and she was a Delta, and if I was gonna pledge, it would have been Delta. And I just didn't really like the camaraderie. She had came from Alabama somewhere, and come to find out, the Deltas on campus really hadn't accepted her. And I had met one, and I had asked her about the organization, and she told me about a book in the bookstore. And so I had in class, I had met some Deltas, and I let them know my sweet mate was a Delta, and she told me about the book and blah blah blah. And my sweet mate confronted me about it and like slammed my door and was just talking junk like from behind the door, and she got banned from the room. That's all I have to say like about that. But I was gonna wring her neck in my youth.
Gangsta D. You was gonna fight him.
I was doing what like
To the
in the
club.
players club when when the girl was in the bathroom, she was beating on the door. I
Mm.
was beating on her. She was interrupting my sleep. Like, wait a minute. Like, you're not gonna talk to me through no door. I was no. I was real gangster back then. No, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna come interrupt my peace. But there um I did my 2 years there, and when it came to advisors, it's the same thing. It's with TAM. Clark, a lot of people don't know, is a religious college. So you have to take like certain classes. And again, I had got a 2 year degree already. So with this 2 year degree, I've already taken certain classes. So now they're telling me I need more electives, and I was just really not in a good space with them because I was like, what's going on? And their education system and how they registered and admin and all that stuff at home, we can just call on the phone, register for the classes. On Clark's campus, it was like the whole school in line to register for classes. I was like, what is this? I was like, what did I get myself into? Why did no one tell me this? Luckily, I was on scholarship and I had a point person that I can take everything. So it was like a fast pass to jump the line. But
Hold on before you finish. I want to give a shout out to Randy for the super sticker. We appreciate you, Randy. I hope you're taking notes. We still gonna get into what we got to talk about. We still got stuff to talk about here. And Tony B said, "I know you lying." Clark, a religious school.
yeah, I mean, a lot of those black colleges were built in the community and they were religious based. So it wasn't. I mean, I went to a Catholic school for 10 years, so it wasn't out of the ordinary. But how he was telling me I needed to take my
You know
classes,
what they say about them Catholic girls.
I don't know. I'm Baptist. Back then I was Baptist. Now I'm just spiritual. So I don't know what
You know what they say go on them Catholic schools.
I, I can tell you it happens. It definitely happens. And I went to all girls high school, so it happens. Definitely happens.
No, okay,
But went to
so hold
Clark.
on. So
Hmm?
pause right there. So pause right there. I have a question. Would you recommend someone, a young lady that's coming up, Would you recommend her going to a all girl school? Like, would you recommend that as maybe a high school or maybe even a college? Would you recommend that?
I would recommend it. I would do it again, only because only because I, for me, boys were all, not that I was into boys, but they were always a distraction in the fact that girls like boys. And as you grow up in life, there's always that boyfriend drama. You know, we had enough boys after school to come up there and talk about, and we had other high schools that were all boys schools, and we would, commingle. But other than that, yeah, I would do it. And then, for my private school years, it went from a school that was 500 people, the whole school, to 5,000 people. So what you get in a school that's smaller is much different than a bigger school. And when I went to public school in the 11th grade, because no one knew me because I didn't come in as a freshman and I was taking junior classes, I was like, if y'all don't know if Columbus sailed in 1492 by now, y'all never gonna get it. Like, are you getting this in high school, like in 11th grade? Like the
You was a
curriculum,
bougie, so you was bougie when you
I
was
wasn't bougie. I just got a different level of education. My high school was a college prep education, college prep. Like, we took typing our first semester, and can you imagine a whole classroom full of girls in Catholic schools typing, and the nun is giving us the keys, and then it was basically the same thing in our
so
computer lab.
so tell people how you transitioned from Catholic school to the pole. Like, how did that happen?
That never happened.
How did you go from the pole? How did you go from typing in the Catholic school to the blue flame?
I, Well, I can tell you how I went from Catholic school to the Blue Flame, but I was in promotions at that time. That's a whole different life. So I've been to almost every strip club in Atlanta. Every strip club to Atlanta in Atlanta I have been to in my music business career. But and back to
No,
Clark.
no,
I
hold
went to
on.
Clark.
No, would
Uh,
you do it again? Would you go back into the music business again?
no, I wouldn't go unless I was like a lawyer or something. But the entertainment industry is a lifestyle. So whether you're in the business part of it or you are an artist and you are creative, those hours can be grueling, and for a woman it gets taxing. It gets taxing because men are groupies. I'm sorry, but
We know
dealing,
men are
and
groupies.
it makes you hard. It makes you hardcore. It does, because it's some of those things where you got a real, and I'm 5'4", so like you are you're trying to round up a whole group of usually men to get to. I mean, I've done everything from artist management to road manager to promotions to Chitlin circuit tour. So it's just like me having to arrange a whole bunch of men all the time and hoarding them to where they need to go. No, and then the hours, it's nighttime. It's nighttime.
Who's your favorite artist to work with?
My favorite artist to work with. Mm. Well, the first person that pops to mind is like Big Gip, and at the time his wife Joy. I worked with both of them individually. And so I would go on the road a lot with Gip, and so that was fun.
Who is Gip?
Big Gip from the Giddy Mob.
Okay.
So that was fun, but also, his wife was a treat too, because they're on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Joy.
And so, going through that, it it it's it was fun. It was fun because it was a more up close relationship, I guess you can say, as far as working on artists that are doing their independent things that have come from bigger situations.
Okay. All right. So now that background, how has that helped you in your tech journey? We're
Okay.
gonna-
Well, with Clark, I got a degree in social work, right? So
Mhm.
it's a generous degree. It's a people degree. Because I've always been resourceful and I've always been pretty good with people. It's given me a certain level of empathy and expectation. And because I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, it gives me a different vantage point when it comes to business. So when I got my first tech job, I got my first tech job with Hotel Tonight, and I was in customer experience, and I was able to take all the things that we were teaching at Women in Linux and apply them to myself. So when it came to my interview and me doing research on the company and talking about layoffs and looking at the business and what does that mean for new people coming on, and what does that that forecast mean for us, and da 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 da, it got me through the door. And then always thinking about the business and looking at those changes, I was able to lend myself to different departments within the customer experience space. So I got to move around fairly quickly because things just came easy to me. I rather talk to people. I set expectations, and I think that's also me being in the service industry. Like, social work is a service job. Bartending is a service job. Promotions, marketing, that is a service job. It's for the people. So my mindset has always been, even big corporations or just myself, is that um, I need my check. The customer is who pays me, and so I have to make sure that that customer is all right. And with the customer being okay, it's also how do you tell that customer no? How do you tell that customer something that they don't want to hear? And so it's lended to be a great superpower of mine in being able to take be a facilitator with technical groups and the user in all levels, because my job now, I work within a banking institution and I'm on the infrastructure team and handling and supporting infrastructure applications, and our users are the employees, and then between lines of business and vendors and things of that nature. So being able to just pilot all of those little things in volley and get things done. So it's come full circle in a sense, because women in Linux, I'm social working. I always say with music, I was working socially, but here you look over that, and everything that I said I wanted to do as a kid, I'm doing in some aspects, here at Women in Linux, using my social work degree. I'm using leadership. I'm using my creative side.
Entrepreneurship.
The entrepreneurship when it comes to branding. We have um, Binary Hustlers, another brand that we're working on, and then we have 50/50 Geek, our for-profit company, and things of that nature. So taking that and being able to have a partner that we're so much the same, but we are different in a lot of ways, and our journeys have been different, and I think that it has lended to a great friendship and business partnership
Mhm.
in growing. And so it's come full circle. It's definitely come full circle.
Tony B says, thanks for explaining the pathway into tech, ladies. Yep. So with that, all of that being said, there's no one way, right? And each person has a set of skills and so forth that they bring to the table, that help others, right? That inspire others and also help yourself. So what I did was, I don't have the marked out stuff, but I do have a screenshot of where I was at in 2008. D, if you want to share the screen. I don't know. Hopefully that's big enough where people can see it. Do I need to make
No,
that?
you need to make it bigger. That little piece. You can
Um,
open the screen up a little bit.
hold on, let me get it. How about that? So this is in 2008. I extend this offer of employment to you for in Alexandria, Virginia. This is me moving from Texas to the DMV. And it says October the 20th for 2008. This is I went in. This is when uh, what you call it was going into office. Howard Homecoming was around that time, and I drove from from San Antonio to DC. And Obama was going into office. His first time. I had been there. Oh no, it was in November, so I only been there a month. And so, it was a great time to be in DC at that time because everybody was dressed up that night when he won, and everybody was walking around each other like, "Man, I love you, brother. I love you, sister. I see you. I see you. I see you. We doing it out here. We out here. We doing." It was a great time. It was one of those things. It was a good experience. So I started off. I negotiated this time. I negotiated a sign-on bonus to move, and I also negotiated more money. It wasn't 110; it ended up being 115, and then I also got 10,000 to move. It's at the bottom of this offer letter, but I just screenshot it. But what I wanted to show that was back in 2008. So let's again. I try to give timelines. I graduated from college in 2007. I had a full time job in working as a high performance computer or Linux administrator and before I graduated. So in 2006, and that was at 49,000. In 2008, yeah, because I graduated because he got out in 2005. I graduated in 2007. We moved to San Antonio. I was only there for a hot minute, and I think I maxed out in that area about 81,000. So I went from 49,000 to 81,000 to 110. But I just wanted to give a timeline of from 2007 to 2008 with the skills that I had and the ability to negotiate and understand things. I pretty much doubled my salary. So I'm not telling you something that I don't know can happen. I'm telling you something that I've done. So I hope
Yeah,
that
I'm trying to think like what did I do in 2008? And I'm like, oh, I was the operations manager for a construction company in Atlanta. Um, and I had left San Francisco because I moved back to San Francisco after my divorce, and I got back to Atlanta, and I was like, man. And what's so crazy, even about that construction company, it was black owned, some frat brothers, and even with that, it for me it's always been about systemization and automation. And so I end up getting that company after they went through what they went through. I actually went from moving that company to an office from Kennesaw to inside the perimeter in Atlanta to moving the business to a remote business because I was like, this company needs to be remote. And again, for me, it made sense, but I didn't know how technical that was at the time. All I knew is that the systems that we needed were technical. And because of technology was changing, how can we get this all on the internet? And I would literally have meetings where our IT guy and ask them what we needed to do and how much it was going to cost. And so, in order to implement it and kind of test what I needed to do to make that happen, I would call out sick and I would be sick, but I said, I'm not feeling well. I'm not coming in the office, but I can work from home. And I implemented my own work from my own telework program. I was like, I can
Mm,
still answer emails and stuff over the phone. And also at that time, that's when voice over IP came out. I forgot that company. It was the Orange Company. I forgot what that company was, but I had voice over IP. I had my own servers. I still have like those servers here in a box. Like I made my home office where I could work remotely. And look, and I had like free internet in the condo. So it was those things that I always try to find out how to streamline business processes. And shortly after that, I end up just going back into consulting. And that's always been my goal is how can I um, systematize and automate this business? Like everybody should be able to work from home.
yeah. Um, Marshana, you asked, are any good books on about negotiating? Any tips? There's some books out there. I just give you my overall view. Like I say, whenever whatever the next job is, now I think I should move that up. Now I've been talking about it for years. We got inflation. So let's say 30,000. Like if you're making 100,000 now, you should be asking at least for a minimum of 30,000 and up on the next job, right? I said 30,000 at a minimum, not just stop at 30,000, but at a minimum, so you can move on because you're not gonna really see $10,000 is not gonna change your life on a pay increase. But 30,000, 25, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, you'll see a change. There's a big difference when in 100,000 and 150,000. When you're talking about growth, right? When you're just talking about growth. So that'd be my recommendation in terms of like how to talk and what to negotiate for. I did a show. I've done several shows on negotiating your salary, asking about other team members and so forth and so on. So I've done a lot of those shows. Deacon post those links as well too. In 2008, it said you did not have particular websites to do salary research on in '08. 10, what did you use to help you in your negotiations? Math.
And questions, asking other people.
Math. Math. Math is your friend, right? So let's do some math. Let's do some math now. Let's pull up a calculator here. Um, and let's make this calculator. Um, oh no, I'll make it that big. So let's do this. Can I make it bigger? How can I make it bigger? Hold on. No, it just let me go move left or right and zoom. It don't let me make it bigger. All right, so let's not use that one because well, you can see it. It looks pretty good. All right, 100,000. Let's go. Let me pull up some tax brackets. So we're just gonna play with right now tax brackets for right now. All right. So the tax bracket for 100 for when and then at the time I was married, but let's say I was single, right? So right now it's 24%, right? So 100 was that minus 24, is that right? Yeah. 0.76, that right? Yep. All right, so 100,000, and you can do this and do the subtraction, but I'll do it both ways. So you multiply by 0.24. So you'll be losing 24,000. You go back to do 100,000 minus 24,000. So that's what you'll be losing. I'm saying you're living in Florida, right? So you bring home 76,000, divide that by 12, and that'll be 633 a month, right? 6,300 a month, right? All right, cool. So if I was making, and then you could take that and divide that by two. So that'd be 3166. So if I was making $2,800 a paycheck and I was taking on a job and it was gonna give me after taxes $3,100 a paycheck, that don't make mathematical sense to me, right? The move doesn't make that much sense to me. All right. So now let's clear that. So now let's do 150,000, right? Times 0.24. Take off 36,000. I'm doing it the long way on purpose. Minus 36,000. Oops, I did that wrong. 100,000. I forgot what the number was. 150. Sorry. 150 times 0.24. 36,000. So now we do 150 minus 36,000. 36,000 from 150. 114. Now divide that by 12, and that's 9,500 a month, right? And then divide that by 2. And now, ooh, did I do that right? Did I do by 24? Yeah, right. Let me see my history. Can I get my history? That's why I like my other calculator. This not showing me my history. All right. So 150. So it's 114. Oops. Um, Divided by 12 was 9,500 a month. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And divided by 2. That was right. It was 60. It was 33 something. All right. Yeah, so 47.55. So minus that 33 something. It was 3,300. So that comes out an additional 14.50 a paycheck. That looks way better for me. Right? It just looks that just looks like more money in my pocket for me. That looks way better for me. Um, in 2009, I was the Walmart employer stacking groceries from aisle 1 to 11, making minimum wage. Right? But again, what I'm simply saying is my skill sets and the ability to negotiate got me to move from 49,000 to 115,000 in a matter of a year and a half, maybe 2 years if we want to stretch it out, right? Um, no, so I haven't negotiated pay raises, annual pay raises, but I have negotiated um like hey, if I get this cert, then we should be increasing my pay X, Y, and Z. Or what does it look like if I went to school and got this? I'll negotiate that, right?
I hadn't negotiated an annual raise, but like I've in contracts, I've negotiated like salary reviews in like 3 months, in 6 months, and what does that look like for companies? So I've negotiated with that, and it's it just depends. Again, I work for a lot of smaller companies, and I know it's more flexible in that regards, where sometimes it's performance based. And as a contractor, if you want to stay or if you want to go, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, you might want to put those reviews there because you might want to leave, or they might want to expand your role, and in that expansion you need to expand your money and to see if they have the budget for that.
And Taylor Christian, I think you asked this question before, but it really comes down to data engineering and machine learning, AI machine learning. Um, let me see. I think I showed you this before, but um, me, I'm trying to find this boot camp, and I've not. I have it in my thing. So with me, I kind of put data engineering under that guise of analyzing data and understanding pipelines. That's how I look at data engineering. Um, Let me see. So, and I showed you this before with Booz Allen, right? You've seen this before with Booz Allen. Underneath it all, you're still gonna probably use something with Python or some type of uh, language that's gonna help you extract data, uh, analyze data, and so forth. So, uh, Python pipelines. When I say pipelines, GitLab, doing some analysis on it, doing some type of model, storing it somewhere. Somebody's reviewing it and getting something out of it. Like that's how I look at data engineering in Linux. That's how I look at data in Linux. But again, not to sidetrack it or promote folks. I mean, you still have like Snowflake, you still, and they have their classes, right, with data engineering. And then you still have Data Bricks um, as well. And they have their data engineering. So each one of those vendors has their own data engineering. And then if you look up data engineering, um, Red Hat. All right, so let me look at Databricks, Red Hat data engineer jobs, right? And this is related to Red Hat, the company, and Linux, right? So here is their principal software engineer, and this one right here is in North Carolina. So let me blow this up. Let's scroll down. What will you do? Deploy platforms and infrastructure in a both a proof of concept and production. Partner with internal and external stakeholders to support combinations of platforms and infrastructure. Work with analysts in their data sets in SQL, Python, or develop data pipelines from disparate data sources to support analysis and activation of contact. Develop data sets across platforms using AWS and OpenShift. Collaborate with sales and marketing teams, maintain knowledge of data elements and Adobe Experience Platform, uh, coordinate marketing, coordinate with marketing, technology, and operations team, collaborate across Red Hat systems and understanding and consulting with KPIs. And then they just kind of give you an overview of what you need to know, right? Right here, right? It shows you what you're doing and what you will bring, right, to the table. Um, Understanding consistency S underscore code logic between multiple web servers and domains. Cloud Discover API, experience for HTML, JavaScript, Firebug, Cloud Debugger, platform debugger, extensive background in uh, educating stakeholders and developing reports. And this is just with Red Hat, right? You can go look up data engineer and uh, at Google, right? Or let's look at GCP. Um, Professional data engineer certification. All right, so again, data processing, quality, operationalized machine learning models, build and operationalize data processing systems. The exam guide is here. Uh, Design data processing systems. And here's hybrid cloud, edge computing capacity planning, and so forth. Building and operationalizing data process systems, right? And Operationalizing machine learning models, uh, ensuring solution quality, ensuring solution quality, and so forth, right? So, like I say, like it's more like for me, data engineer, you're building the pipeline, you're ensuring that the tests that you build and the models that you build are tested properly. People are able to access those models and get some type of feedback. That's what I get. I showed you Lockheed Martin. Okay, yeah. All right. Minus the joke, data science has numerous of facets from machine learning, data, deep engineering, deep learning, deep engineering, deep learning, and reinforcement learning, and need to understand stats. Yep. Yep. You said you're doing Udacity data engineering, lots of Python, SQL, Pandas, Linux, cloud databases. Yeah. It's kind of like what I thought of data engineering as well, Kevin. That's what I saw with data engineering. D is talking of the tools, which is important, but understanding the statistical. Yeah, 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 yeah. Right, right. All right, so the other flip side, so let's get into this training. I know Ray had asked about this and several others have asked about this, so this is for you all that ask about this. So everybody comes every week and they're looking for like ways to find information in order to train. All right, so I went and looked up the Open Infrastructure Foundation. All right, so here is, if we click on this link, it's going to take you here and they have different projects under open infrastructure. This goes back to the OpenStack project. There is a OpenShift project, right? Um, and so here we'll go just official OpenShift, and we're gonna put these over here together. All right. All right. So open infrastructure. All right. Who's supporting this one? What are we talking about? The world has changed. When OpenStack started in 2010, clouds were mainly in virtual machines in a data center. Today, clouds have evolved to work assembly in and out of the data centers and are composed of an evolving mix of bare metal machines, VM, and containers. While OpenStack is seen as a de facto open source platform for operating cloud infrastructure around the world, more technology is needed to meet and diverse use cases and so forth, right? So they talk about where does OpenStack play? Well, OpenStack plays a big part here when we're looking at or what we call open infrastructure, AI, machine learning, CI/CD, container infrastructure, edge computing, public, private, and hybrid clouds. And they break all of this down. And I talked about this on Wednesday about edge computing, your cell phones, your tablets, your car is an edge device because you are getting serious radio right there at your fingertips, right there at your fingertips. Um, so we want to have that. Let's see, build just two projects she has proposed. Will do just that. Yep, yep. Machine learning pre-trained models cannot be used due to the privacy laws and biases. So, yes and no. So there at OctoML, we're building a platform where you can put your model on there, train it, and then take your model with you instead of relying on somebody else's platform in order to build your model. We're actually building that now, right? So it depends, right? That's really a depend. So open infrastructure, right? So let's look at the events that they have and where does this come into play, and we're gonna get into that. So um, open infrastructure live, open infrastructure keynote, right? So here's the list of keynotes that they had. Let's see schedule. All right, so let's go back and look at the people here. So open infrastructure, Tim. So Tom Calloway from AWS, We have a staff engineer from Kata Containers. We have New Delhi, a research associate, an open source initiative executive director. You have a cloud specialist and VP of industry solutions, Wind River. I think Wind River does government contracting. AWS here, Dell Technologies. Um, it's all people from open infrastructure. Fiber Home, NIPA, more open infrastructure people, more open infrastructure people, more Acme Gating, founder, Vodafone Group Networks. I don't know if you all know Amy. Amy's been around for a while with Red Hat. She's been around for a while. Workday, BRCK, CTO, Azure Office of CTO. When we're talking about OpenStack, the Linux Foundation, Trendol, China Mobile, Red Hat, Microsoft, um, Anderson Horowitz, entrepreneur, right? So that's just a give you an idea of like who is using and touching open infrastructure as really representations of companies, right? Representations of companies. Now, if you want to take it one step further, you can go to you can go to Indeed or Dice or whatever the case may be, or um, let's go Indeed, and then maybe we'll do blind, and we'll just type in the word OpenShift, and I just want to see how many people come back, how many hits come back, right, for OpenShift. And then I go and show you the diagram. I mean, not OpenShift, but OpenStack. Then I go show you the diagram for OpenStack and what I'm talking about. All right, so 2,800 jobs. Let's do salaries above 140. Let's make sure we're doing remote. And then we can. You got level 3, 42, mid level 99, 100, right? So let's take off the 140 and let's go here and do not company, but entry level. So we got an entry level, evolved packet core engineer, Linux support associate, Austin, software engineer, C Street, cloud support engineer one, premium support, Devops, SRE, software quality engineer with Red Hat. 401k, the matching and so forth, write code for new software features, plan tests, blah blah blah. 2 years of experience with Linux platform or software, and software testing at the component, software test engineer, data center architect, Azure solution architect, right? Infrastructure engineer three, and so the list goes on, right? So what does OpenStack look like? So OpenStack, with OpenStack, you have multiple components that you can have with OpenStack. Let me go back to that picture. So you can use deploy via Kubernetes or Cloud Foundry or Terraform. Use built-in tools with Horizon, the actual interface, and then OpenStack SDK. So you'll have OpenStack underneath. Um, can be used for on-premises, public cloud, and edge computing. So here's some other people. Open Infrastructure Foundation member for OpenStack, Ericsson, your cell phone towers, and so forth and so on. All right, when we talking about OpenStack. I left and came back, Ray. This is for you right here. This is all for you. Sanchez, thank you for loving the channel. This is all for you, right? Ubuntu, right? The world runs on OpenStack. OpenStack is trusted to manage 20 million cores around the world across dozens of industries, from Blizzard Entertainment, Walmart. When I say Walmart Labs, this is what I was talking about, Walmart, China Mobile, and then they have more case studies, right? From Adobe Advertising to Yahoo to Line, Keiko, China Railway, Foodstuff North Island, Adform, T-Mobile, CERN, Progressive, Target, um, U.S. Army Cyber School, University of Edinburgh, Atmel, Overstock.com, Oak Ridge National Laboratory, Oklahoma Medical Research Foundation, GE Healthcare, Sky TV, American Airlines, Direct TV, the Commonwealth Bank, um, France's Interior Ministry, FinTech, China's National Offshore Cloud Platform, Saudi Telecom, Nike, uh, City Network, uh, Workday, Bloomberg, Comcast, AT&T, Snapdeal, Volkswagen. So when I say OpenStack is everywhere, OpenStack is everywhere. All right, so now when we come back over here, let's play the game and let's look at remote. Let's remove entry and let's go senior level, right? And then we can drop down here. We can see companies: Canonical, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Wind Rivers, Nokia, Snowflake, Red Hat, F5, VMware, Cybercoders, Casa, Cisco, Nvidia. All right, 107, 107 different companies, 381 jobs at the senior level. You can even do like, let me see if we can pull anything on under 200K on their site. Sometimes they don't have it on. They don't have it. They may not have it here. Oh, they got something. All right. So embedded software engineer, senior cybersecurity research, senior systems administrator at Paraton in Virginia. I know exactly where that's at. That's right up there in Chantilly. I know exactly where that's at. I think that was across the street from the hotel, Dion. Paraton was right there. Right. So 200 to from 215 to 227. Hold on, let me click on the right one. 208 up to 200,000, right? For job description, what they're looking for, who you be working with, so forth and so on. And they go on to a little detail about it here. You need a clearance for this one. They're probably working with uh, a well-known entity in that area. All right. So let me remove the 200K. All right. Let's go back to regular. And then now we got a senior operations engineer. You have software engineer one, two, network engineer up in Ashburn, Virginia. I will require more than that in Ashburn. That's not enough, right? It says a contract, but that ain't enough. Linux support associate, senior systems engineer, high performance computing system administration. I always need that. DevOps engineer, it's gonna fall under that, and the list goes on, right? That you'll be working on an OpenStack cluster, right? Ashburn is totally expensive. I know. I was trying to live in Ashburn, so I know exactly how much Ashburn is. I like Ashburn though. But it's so far out. You never go into the city. Like if you did, you don't get a hotel room. All right. So components of OpenStack. So let me scroll back up and let's go look at OpenStack. What is OpenStack? OpenStack is a cloud operating system that controls large pools, and I'll blow this up, Large pools of compute, storage, network resources throughout a data center, all managed and provisioned through APIs with common authentication schemes. You can go get OpenStack, your OpenStack um, certification through Red Hat, or you can go through Mirantis. There are several different ones. Then you have the OpenStack landscape. So this is what I want to show you when I said earlier it could be a mix and match of a lot of things. And so this is what I'm saying. You could have compute. You Most people do Nova, but then you may want to do containers, which is Zoom. Then you have storage, which is Swift, Sender, and Manila. Swift is object stored like you would in AWS with an S3 bucket. Sender is your block storage, just as you would with a physical hard drive, right? And Manila is your file based storage. Then you have networking, and each one provides something different. SDN for Neutron, Octavia for load balancing, DNS from designation. These are things you're going to have to memorize. You're going to have to memorize these things. Since 2010, it's been around. Hardware lifecycle, ironic for bare metal machines and accelerators to sideboard. I mean, you got shared services with Keystone for identity, placement for scheduling, glance, and so forth. So I'm going to now log into my Red Hat account, and I'm going to show you from a Red Hat perspective what OpenStack could look like. And I'll even while I'm out, we'll talk about OpenShift too, right? We'll talk about that. B, you had said something in the background. Oh, okay, you said be right back. Okay. All right. So let me go and grab this class. Let me find the class and then I'll pull it up and go to my dashboard here because I think I got it in my thing. Yeah, Red Hat open. No, that's OpenShift. Let me pull up OpenStack. Let me pull up OpenStack. All right, here we go. The 110 course for OpenStack. Let me see. Let me read it. All right, so here's their 110 course. This is what it looks like. Table of contents introducing Red Hat OpenStack platform, manage application projects in a multi-tenant cloud, managing Red Hat OpenStack platform, configuring resources for to launch a non-public instance, virtual machine disk, providing additional storage, and the list goes on, right? So now if we look at the lab environment, let me see, it's probably classroom here. This is what it actually looks like to build. So when you're building Red Hat Open Stack, we have what we call the undercloud and the overcloud, and they're going to go into this as you read more about this. So you're going to have you're going to have your undercloud, which is your director, to build out all your infrastructure in the overcloud, right? And so why does it why what are we looking at here? We're looking at people who have a set of skills that understand or want to understand networking. You understand how to troubleshoot, you understand how to read documentation, you understand how to get on a command line, how to configure something, how to look at firewall rules in Red Hat, and the basic low level class day one that you would need to have is Linux, and then some networking on top of that, because most of the time what kills people with setting up an open stack cluster is the networking piece, right? But this class walks you through this, right? So then there is Marantis open stack, and they have their stuff, in which they have exams and stuff that you can take, right? Mirantis OpenStack for Kubernetes, right? And what does that look like? How to deploy it? Who's using it? So forth, right? So at a baseline, we're talking networking, Linux security, and Kubernetes on top of that, right? All in. I won't say Kubernetes is included, but you could have Kubernetes in that make up your OpenStack cluster. OpenStack means I have an open stack and in that open stack, I have a set of services that I can pick and choose and manipulate to provide as my and create myself as a cloud provider. Basically, if you wanted to build an OpenStack cluster at home or in a inside of AWS, right? Say you created a company and you started using OpenStack and you put OpenStack on AWS and you tell everybody you're going to start hosting their web servers, you could do that. It's open source, it's free. That's one. And then two, you can build it. The only thing you will be building is your time, your effort, your resources, those things, and start hosting your own cloud infrastructure in the cloud, right? You could literally do that. You could literally get a small unit, a small place, and build out an OpenStack cluster, and then start selling managed cloud services to people, right? You could do that. So managed cloud services, OpenStack, right? So look, OpenStack cloud services on demand from a company called OpenMetal.io. Managed cloud hosting cloud infrastructure servers from Flexental. Here's another one here. Uh, and the list goes on, right? Let me see. All these are OpenStack. Crossval, rethink how you manage your OpenStack private cloud. Rackspace has one. IBM also has one. Capgemini, all those. They're taking an open source product. They are probably slapping some little interface on top of it, which OpenStack comes with its own interface on top of it. But you can customize the logos and stuff like that, and you have your own. You're building your own cloud, and you're selling managed services for people to deploy their actual website, or they need workloads or something of that nature, and you can do that, right? You can take that open source project and utilize it and make money off of it. Same way you can do with OpenShift as well too. It is an open source project. It just takes some effort and branding and time in order to do that, but it could possibly be done. Most people take OpenShift and they put it on top of OpenStack. Those people who know OpenShift and OpenStack get paid. They get paid. I'm not gonna lie to you and say they don't. They do. They do. They're probably getting paid a minimum of anywhere from two on upwards, maybe in the fours and fives, possibly. What's going on, engineering cannabis?
What's going on? How's it going?
It's all good, man. What's going on?
How's it going?
I'm good. What you got for us?
Um, the area, you talked about the cloud technology. One of the biggest problems I've seen, especially with the cloud, is the pre-trained models in the cloud, like Azure.
Mm,
So, for instance, because of the laws on HIPAA and all that, you can't use most of the pre-trained models, especially in the
gotcha.
healthcare. And you talked of people designing their models. That's why people are actually designing their own mathematical models,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't use that pre-trained models, because again, you're dealing with people's lives.
Right.
So when you, for instance, I was working on a research that dealt with heart conditions, and you had to basically use experimental data to then create a model. But again, with the cloud technology, you can't use their pre-trained models, because again, they don't have the same variables you might be using in your model,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't even know where they scrape their data from to actually train that model itself, because you have to prove that model doesn't have any biases in it.
Correct.
So there's a lot of, again, with the cloud, the pre-trained models are good for certain industries, but but some certain industries like even law enforcement, before you even use a model, you have to explain how that model was trained on.
Mm,
And Amazon is not going to give you that data to tell you how its models were trained. So if you go into court to prove, hey, my model is accurate and all that, and it's not, there are no biases in this model, you have to prove to them like, okay, this is the data I trained this model in. But again,
so
Amazon is not going to give you that data itself to tell you how they train their model itself.
so how do you prove a bias?
Oh, that that is a research topic. Even I'm still playing around with.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
It's
Gotcha.
because every human is innately built with a bias.
Mm,
So every algorithm is biased on its own. Even the YouTube algorithm, I always call it the bias algorithm in its own, because the YouTube is feeding your biases. So what you
right.
search is what bias is going. So that is a whole. I can give you a full 25-hour lecture on biases alone,
Mm,
and it's stupid. But again, these are the things, again, people are not talking about, because biases, especially in the African American community, is big, especially
right.
in the AI. When we talked of identification, facial recognition, the problem is there are biases inbuilt in those algorithms that do facial recognition. And the biases is they didn't know what data they were collecting. They didn't collect enough data of African Americans with different skin color, different facial features. They didn't collect enough data to actually characterize how African American looks in different areas and different regions. So,
Mm,
and they didn't care because, again, the people that were basically creating those algorithms weren't African Americans; they were white, and they didn't think the need of actually knowing that, hey, African Americans come in different color, different texture, different regions. We need to get that data and we need to be specific, but they didn't care. So again, that's why Tam and everybody's promoting people to go into these areas, because again, it's not only profitable, but there's a lot of, in the healthcare field right now, a
mm,
lot of avenue in terms of making money, in terms of understanding how we can build models for healthcare, and we need to be in the forefront of doing all this. So that is my spiel on.
it's
And
all. I
apart from
appreciate it.
apart from doing them jokes, I love the jokes. That's how I keep saying.
It's all good. We ignore you.
But that's how I keep saying. I gotta make those jokes because
We ignore
you
you.
can't you can't be serious. One thing I've learned, you can't be serious 24/7. You gotta make some jokes out of this.
Hey man, I leave people right where they at. It's way too much money out here to be
Eh,
made.
Look, I know that. Don't get me wrong. I know I mean, I just mentioned the healthcare field. That alone is $1 billion industry in the tech side.
Yeah, and they're looking for people that understand how to deploy and set up Kubernetes right now.
Kubernetes, yeah,
There's a there's a big project going on
yeah.
right now.
So I know just that sector. I know a
And
lot.
even
Renewable,
renewable
yeah.
energy is
Solar,
huge.
solar energy.
Huge.
I was looking at algorithms that basically can predict how to basically set up your solar panels to actually catch the most efficient way to catch solar rays to basically make your whole system more efficient. I've seen those algorithms. I've seen,
Do they have one out there for solar photons?
yeah, they have it for photons, they have it for wind. I'm seeing the algorithms that I'm like, there are ways to improve on it, make it better. I'm seeing a lot. And again, we we are lacking a lot of people. There are a lot of opportunities in the tech, even DevSecOps,
Yeah.
every opportunity, and there's a lot of money to be made.
Yep. A lot
It's
of money.
it's not it's not change. This is real life changing money. But again, when I come in and talk like this, statistical modeling, all this, it's not
Mhm.
fun. But when I talk of booty cheeks and
Like the sounds.
when I talk of booty cheeks When I talk about booty cheeks and
Amen. That
algorithms,
but again, I mean that
it's
I mean, so you got it. So I look at it two ways. I look at it, some people want to make money this way and some people want to
mm,
make money that way, right?
yeah.
I prefer to make wealth. And when I talk about it, I mean I'm talking about it from a totality, like we were talking earlier about your
Mm.
portfolio. What does that look like,
And that's
right?
great too.
Right? You
Yeah.
can literally have a you can literally go buy a building,
Yeah.
get with group, and then start building out an open shift, open
hmm
stack cluster, and start selling managed services, uh, security, and so forth.
So
And find your niche and your market in order to do that, and probably turn it into a government contract.
I mean, contract. You even said it,
Exact
government contract. So I can sit all day and tell you where the opportunities are. I can tell you how to
execution.
how to execute. I can tell. I'm doing it in my life, but I can tell you all this, and I've been telling people all this, but nobody has listened. I've been doing it 2 years, 3 years. Nobody cares that much. So,
We got folks listening on here now, right?
but
So I
but
can honestly say we
yeah,
got some breakthroughs.
we have people listening, but again, I see the totality of this. You've shown me the data. We've seen it.
Mhm.
We've
Mhm.
seen the variance. We've seen how it skews in terms of wealth and income and all that. How
Mhm.
it skews
Mhm.
to that low end. We've seen it. But again, from year to year, when you continue seeing that from year to year, and you continue shouting that message, at one point, something like, so at one point, I'm like, okay, if nobody's gonna hear the way I'm talking, maybe I'm teaching like a professor. I'm gonna have to make some jokes and crack up some more to have
Mm-mm.
my.
You
No,
ain't got
no,
to do that. Don't adjust. Don't change your model.
I'm again. I
Don't change. See, that's the problem right there.
but
See, we
again,
can't we
like
can't
every
change our model. We can't see that's the problem, right? We be
my
so worried about trying to get, like I look at it like this. When a fisherman goes out to sea, he just casts his net. And whatever is in that net, when he scoop it up, he bring it back and he just dumps it out on his boat. He don't go out there and swim out there and be like, I don't want that dolphin. We don't want that swordfish. It's whatever. When I cast my net and I pick it up and I lay it out, it's whatever it is. That's it. But don't change your model and adjust because you feel like you're not getting that the crowd, everybody.
it's not the
Everybody,
crowd.
everybody ain't go.
Okay, Tam, look at it. The
Everybody ain't go.
recent review came out about the amount of African Americans in the data science arena.
Hmm.
They said it's less than 2%. Do you know how wrong that is?
Yeah.
Less than 2% in an area that's basically in every industry, in every sector. Data is in every industry,
Hmm.
every sector.
Yeah.
Protecting it, knowing how to use it. It's in every sector, and we're only
Hmm.
2% in it.
Yeah.
Isn't
But
that a
so here's where I go and say this, and this is one of the reasons why Women in Linux was created. Was if I tell you every day that you can get in the tech and all you need to do is learn Python. All you need to do is learn Python. All you need to do is learn Python. We're going to funnel everybody into learning Python. But guess what? There is C++, Java,
rust?
Rust,
Yeah,
all the other languages,
yeah,
Golang and everything.
yeah.
But we're gonna be over here because they told us that we need to go into Python. That's all we need, and that's all we don't get tunnel vision, and we don't look out across the landscape. So when I created Women in Linux, I wanted people to know that you can make money in infrastructure. And infrastructure is so broad
Bro,
that you can go specialize. The specialization is infrastructure, right? But
hmm?
underneath infrastructure, there's other little subsets from data center build out to containers to
Yeah.
virtual machines
Hmm.
to network security to
Yeah.
cloud security. Like there's so many things. I mean, I
And
can
most
go
classes,
on and
yeah.
on and on. And every like, and here's the this is why I tell people the beauty about infrastructure. You need me. You can't exist without me. There's no cloud, there's no data center without me. It don't happen.
True. And
Your model, you need hardware.
yeah, I don't need. Oh, my GPUs. Oh, I do need a lot of hardware to basically
You
process.
need power. You
Oh, a
need
lot.
somebody to analyze it. You need to be cooled. You
Yeah,
need to be ran for a
I
long time.
need all that.
You need me. So if I ever decided to like I don't want to do Linux no more, I want to get back to bare metal,
Mm,
hardcore. If I want to go work back at Dell, I can go back and work that. But you got to understand there's a vast amount of information
yeah,
that doesn't that doesn't reach people, not because they're not listening, it's because it's just not even advertised.
but look at the retention. What's the okay? You funnel people. What's the retention rate based on the funneling? Because again, yes, you get them into the door, but again, the
Mhm.
door is wide open. But the
Right.
door to go through it, it's not easy. It's arduous in
So
a lot of.
okay, so let me ask you this. How long do you hold somebody's hand and how far do you hold their hand before you lose
Nobody,
what you gain?
nobody held my hand. They just told me this is the door.
But what I'm hearing is you're implying that we need to
I
adjust and hold hands.
what I
Like,
what I learned is a little bit of honey. You know that statement. A little bit of honey
I
makes it
get
more
you.
digestible.
I get you.
And
And then here's what I think. I think we done had a lot of honey. I think right now we need to have that. This is just my thoughts. We need to have black people standing up at the top of the pot of the honey and just push them. Like, like there's a big pot of honey that Winnie the Pooh that brought over here. And it's black people standing up at the top. And at this point, you just need to walk behind them like how cats walking up behind dogs and scaring them. Just push them. Like it's over. It's a wrap. You don't know if you want boom. Like just I'm just gonna push you in,
but
right?
again, I
Get it
love
up.
it.
We're not getting it up out the mud no more. We're getting
We're
it
not.
out of the estate.
We
We're
are.
getting it
It's
out of the trust.
all the trust and all the real estate planning and all that. It's crucial. It's
it,
key.
it's it, it is it is more crucial now than ever.
Yeah.
Like we just don't have it in us no more um to be waiting on the side. Those that want to go, they go. If they don't, those that don't want to, right? They don't want to go, they don't want to go.
But again, it's getting better. Even real estate, we have less people own African Americans owning homes.
We got less people owning real estate than ever in history.
Even homes, just homes.
Yeah, we have less people owning real estate in history, and you know who's buying the up is people think it's the big hedge funds.
No,
It's not the big hedge fund. I
it's
can create a hedge fund,
yeah.
right? It's people like me
That just goes and buy
that's creating hedge funds and buying up
and just
land
yeah,
and buying up subdivisions.
and it's
Is just that
and
simple.
it is.
So we got to get out of the mindset of like, oh, somebody's gonna come along and they're gonna show me how. No, f that.
Oh,
Here you go. Here's how you get these certifications. Here's how you get that training. Go dive off into this honey. Make sure no splashing. Don't splash when you dive. Go make your money.
but again, and also people, I think they're afraid that you might make. I've made mistakes, and my mistakes have made me stronger. My mistakes knew where I was lacking, and when I knew where I was lacking, I could then focus and make those mistakes, make it more where I can't make it anymore. Where it's now something
Yeah,
I've seen.
I was partying in Atlanta and not going to school. And the day I went to school, I was in my calculus class and I walked in and she was like, "Here's your exam." I was like, "Shit, let me get." Let me just write my name on here. Let me look at it. None of that shit makes sense. I got up 5 minutes later and walked out. I'm like, everybody was like, she done? She must be super smart. No,
Uh,
I failed. And I'm up out of this bitch. Let me go play
I
football.
did the same thing. I woke up and I was like, I am missing my final. Came to the final like an hour late. Cold cheated, got caught cheating, and still failed the class with a D. And then went to the appeals and fought for my grade because I had already taken it already.
yeah.
I was like, y'all not going to play me. Absolutely not.
So there's no perfect path to.
No.
No, we all make mistakes.
We
We're human.
all will fall.
Yeah. And
We're
and that and,
human.
right.
We're
And
human.
that's the part about it is for me is there's no perfect path. There's no, and we're gonna make mistakes, but some mistakes we don't have to make if we
Yeah,
just talk, right? If we
yeah,
just have that community and talk, we don't have to make the same mistakes, right? So,
yeah.
like, so that's why I have the Slack group. That's why we meet here on we meet on here, and then we also put the meetups out on Wednesdays, right? Sometimes I don't record because sometimes I don't feel like recording. Sometimes I just want to straight talk and I just want to get down to what we doing. And people who've been to the meetups know sometimes I don't record because they be like, "Did you record this?" I was like, "Hell no, I didn't
And it
record this."
also kills that perfectionist spirit. Like you got to take it all in and look like, go. Do you even understand what you're learning? Go back over the material and then come back and speak. Because what happens is if you get used to these videos, then now you're putting yourself in a silo. This is Women in Linux is not a silo, it's a community. You need to take what you learn. If you don't understand it, go in there and ask some questions about what it is. No question is too big, no question is too small. Period.
Do you put this
You're not
coming
going to
up?
learn it all by yourself.
Do you put this coming up right here?
That's the
Which
truth.
comment?
The last one. Right. So community allows us to learn from cautionary tales instead of experience, making i.e., making a mistake in the first place. Yeah, and so I want to caveat that. I want to put some boundaries on that. I'm not saying don't go get the experience, but what I'm saying is make sure you're asking questions about like, oh, I got a job offer,
Mhm.
I'm gonna take it, but should I negotiate? It's
Yeah.
like that's you may not have been down that road
Mhm.
before, right? You know a lot of people. I like I said when I got my first one, I didn't know nothing about negotiating. I probably could have got more. I just took the 49,000 because I was like, it's the most money I had ever made.
You're not lying.
But then again, you look at it, you like, how much did I leave on the table?
I that was my first job too. I regretted it when I came out of Walmart. So I was used to this kind of like $7 an hour. And then I was after grad school, I was offered 50 to 60,000 dollars. I was like, man, that's money.
Mm-hmm.
And this was from BMW. But in hindsight, I was a guy with a master's degree taking 60,000. There was something wrong with that. I
Right.
didn't
And
even.
they jumped on it.
And they jumped on it like, oh,
They
this.
jumped on your lack of knowledge.
And I was like, man, I'm good. I'm working for BMW. I'm making money. Apparently, if I look back at it, I would have made 30 to 40,000 more based on what I was doing. But again, I was coming from the exposure lack. Like, hey, I'm the guy from Walmart stacking boxes. Now I'm making this kind of money. That exposure was a change, and I didn't know better. So, but as you grow, you learn from it, and you want to pass that down to people who are basically in that similar situation you were in. And I agree, people need to hear this. But again,
Right.
how do you push it? Do you push it in such a format that, hey man, he's talking too much in ways I really don't understand, or do you want to basically again, uh, don't be offended the way I talked about it on in the comments about different areas and what I could make, but
Mhm.
make jokes about things and
No, we
that,
don't. We're not
We
offended by.
don't, we don't, we, if we were offended, we would knock you out of the chat box. I mean, I'm just
yeah,
gonna be honest. Like
yeah,
when it gets too much, you just won't be
yeah,
here. And I think other people in the chat will call you out on that.
okay.
However,
So
we opened up the door for that particular comment, but then it also goes back to in life, people are on their journey
Yeah.
and we are planting seeds,
Yeah.
right? Your seed may sprout early. You may be one of the first seeds. Some other people's seed might not sprout to 2 years from now when they get it. Like when you are ready to receive it, you gonna get it. Like we are not worried about that.
Mm.
We want everybody to get it. We want everybody to take a grasp of the information and implement it immediately. That would be ideal for us. But everybody is not ready in their journey at that particular point.
And for some people, they don't see themselves. And I talk about this a lot. Um, and it doesn't have to do anything with race, but it has to do with how you see yourself. A lot of people don't see themselves as being successful. And when I say that, meaning I don't see myself making that kind of money, and if I could, I would. And a lot of people go on, and I see it all the time, they go on a self-sabotaging position,
Uh,
where they're like, okay, I know I can make that money, and this is the amount of work that I got to put in. And they'll put in the work, and but they won't go apply for the job. Or if they do apply for the job, they won't accept it, um,
yeah.
because some people have a fear of success. And also, what I see with us is we have a fear, and this is what I get from you. We have a fear that we're going to leave people behind, and they're not going to relate to us anymore, when it's not the fear of leaving them behind and not having them relate. It is the it is we have to have the ability to get ahead, so we can say, if we go down this road, there's a lion. So I'm gonna take the hit first. Let me take the hit first, and I'm gonna come back to you and be like, do this, but don't go down that road because there's a lion down there. Go over here. And sometimes we don't want to be the first. and,
True.
and for a lot of us, and I think in our community as well too, a lot of what people say and how people say it affects what we do. And
Yes.
when I say that, like little snide remarks like, oh, you think you big time in now?
Yeah.
No,
That little
no.
job got you
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
those type of things.
You
But
changing
also
quick, quick. You
on the
changing
flip
quick.
side of that, we so used to overcompensating to get ahead is like we always want to come to the door with the package. And then when you come to the door with the package and you expect that the package is going to get you $100,000, and you like, but I got all the stuff and I'm getting more stuff and I have all the stuff, and they like, well, all that stuff is 60. Ain't no way you got an MBA and not coming through the door with over $100,000 unless you in some social services,
Yep.
to start out. I mean, even with a BA, I was like, $10. I am over here flipping these drinks, making stacks. Like I'm slinging drinks for like,
Mhm.
no, I'm glad I didn't pay for this. Like I paid for my education with a scholarship. I made the grade, but it was just like, man, if I would have spent my money on this, I would have been upset. But when I wanted the social work degree, but rather than when I finished and saw what was really out there, was a wake up call. So now it's like, how do I transfer all of this stuff to
Mm.
something different
Yeah.
and on my path and on my goals? At the end of the day, it is about your self worth,
Mm.
your confidence in doing the work, not just the tech work, but the mental, the
Yeah.
physical, and the spiritual work and the research to get yourself to the next level. We
Yeah.
got when we were coming up, the internet was there, but not in the capacity as it is now.
But
Period.
that mindset, it took me time to get over that hump of, oh, I don't think I can do this, or I don't think I deserve this. It took me time.
Oh, I need some more. Let me go get some of
Let
this,
me get
some
more.
more of this. That's procrastination now.
Yeah, and I realized, no, I'm skilled enough. I'm more than qualified enough, and I just go for what I want to go. And and every day I do it the same way. It's yes, that mindset is always it was there for me. It took me time to get over
So,
that hump.
so let me ask you this: how would it? And you probably can't answer this, but how would it have changed if it was three other people around you that was encouraging you, that was doing this and working towards the same goal that you was working towards?
So I I'll say this. When I was growing up, I'm the oldest sibling. So I had two other siblings that basically mimicked what I did. So they're all engineers too and all that. But I didn't have anybody ahead of me that
Right. That's what I'm saying. What if you had somebody that was a group of people that were with you that
yeah,
was going
that
down?
would have that would have been easier and made it much better. But I'll say this: when at one point I had one mentor, and the mentor was a white hillbilly country dude that came up to me and says, "Hey, I see you love data. I want you to do this, and if you do this, I promise you, you will make more money than I will. If you stick to this." And this was a white guy who didn't even know me from Adam. He just saw my work ethic and said, "Hey, I like you. I like what you're doing in terms of how you move it.
Mm-hmm.
Do this, study data science, study statistics. You don't need to go to school or that you already have a good engineering background. Study it well, learn, and apply to those jobs."
Mm-hmm.
He told me, "Don't be afraid of doing that. You might think you don't have it, but you do. I know you do." And that's how I got into the data science. And it's been years now. And
It
it's
took one person to it took one
one
person to show you.
one
One
person just
simple
told me,
spark.
this is the path. You want to make a lot of money, go to this path, and you will not have a lot of competition. You will not have you will make as much money as you want to demand. If you want to even work for yourself, you can do it.
But he also said, I see you.
I see you.
I see you. And
So
whether you don't see it in yourself right now, I see you. You got it.
yeah,
Go get it.
and I
Just go and do it. And
and
when people are in a one-on-one with me, it is like, so how much more education you want? How many more certs? Do you understand what you have? Like you
yeah.
already got the stuff.
Oh,
You got like 80% of the people that are here are to level up their careers. You got the stuff. How now it's like, how do we take this stuff,
And
package
package
it
it.
up, and move you to the next level? 9 times out of 10, the package is you. You got to get out your own way.
so that was
And
it.
that's a hard pill to swallow
Yeah,
when you're in your own way.
yeah. So telling that just one mentor pushing me and telling me apparently changed my whole trajectory in life in terms of the amount of money I make, the amount of my lifestyle basically went from 0 to 10, 20x in a span of a short period. Just
Hmm.
a decision I made, and it's continuously growing. And I'll say today is based on just that decision alone has basically changed my whole life. And again, I talk to him every day. He says yes. So again, I understand. That's why I like pushing stuff like this because again, it's not being pushed more in again the black community. It's more of rubbish, but stuff like this isn't pushed. Isn't I'm seeing
Well,
I see
we
that
push. I just refuse to be. I just refuse to fall into the controversy because the controversy doesn't help the audience get to the next level. When I'm sitting in a room and the guy has $10 billion in a fund under management,
yeah.
right? And they got 11,000 people waiting to come in under his fund. So he has a funnel already. And the people that's walking across the stage, 10 of them have raised 100 million, and the other six have raised 10 million. The lady that's sitting to the left of me has $260 million on the asset. The guy that's sitting next to her has a 200. No, he had a I think he had $1 billion mining crypto farm in Utah. Uh, then you have uh, another person over here who just sold their company for 30 million and is now going to turn around and buy another company for 10 and then 10x that company and sell it for another for 20 million,
Building wealth.
right?
with no formal education.
Yeah, and yeah, and they don't have formal education. They just have a network and they
Yeah.
understand the business and understanding systems and processes.
Yes.
And we don't understand systems and processes. We understand step one, step two, step three that I gotta do, that I gotta trade my time in order to do it. And then there's this whole other mindset over here of you don't need to know everything. You need to know this much, and we gonna connect you with people, and don't and you together are gonna know everything, and we're gonna go by that. And
Right.
so as
Yeah.
a unit, we're gonna go do it. And we're like, I am the unit, and they're like, no,
We are the unit.
we are the unit.
Yeah.
So we don't like to move as a unit. So you get into these conversations about don't take my stuff. And I'm saying, okay, let's alleviate the conversation and say, you got an estate, you got an estate, you got an estate. Now what? Now what else are we gonna fight about? What else we gonna fight about? Because now we all got our stuff in an estate. And so now ain't no need to fight no more. The fight is over. So now
What's your problem now?
yeah, what's the problem now?
Now,
Now,
what's
now,
what's
now
yours?
what's the problem now? So from your state, your state, and your state, you bring a mill, you bring a mill, and you bring a mill. We create a new estate, and together in that estate, we go after that. Keep your little funky 40 million, keep your little funky 5 million, keep your little funky 10 million. Keep
Yeah.
your funk, right? Let's build some new funk and then go from there. But in order to do that, you got to understand what's available to you to protect yourself. So when we come and have these conversations, well, if I go in there with you, then they're gonna be looking at me like they're gonna try to get some of my money. No, F that. Come to the table with your 100,000, put your other stuff in the state. In fact, I ain't gonna even do business with you because your stuff ain't even set up right.
But see, all these conversations are critical conversations. But
Uh,
rather than having this, we're having McDonald's conversations.
That, but again, I can't. Again, I'm scooping up. I'm casting my net. I'm scooping up
I
the
don't
You,
know who we are. I don't
and
know
I'm
why you
dropping
keep
it
wanting
down.
to put me in this proverbial we
we
conversation. I
as
don't give a
in
I
we,
don't give a
we as
who.
in we as in
Okay, let me give you the
you my
visual.
people, you my
Look,
people,
No,
look,
no, 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 no,
look,
no.
you
look.
my
No,
people.
no, no,
Well,
no.
you finna go in
No,
that
no, no.
pot. I'm
No,
gonna
no,
push
no,
you in the pot.
You
no,
my
no,
people.
no, no,
See?
no.
No,
I'm pushing
see,
you in the pot.
that's what I'm talking about.
But and again, it's one of those things where you can choose to have that conversation or you can choose to walk away. I'm an avid lurker on the gram on Facebook. And you know what? I'll be like, bloop, bloop, bloop.
But see,
Even when me and Tamika have a conversation, I'll be like, I don't want to hear about that. And I'll be like, don't tell me any more about those people. And it's not that I'm being dismissive, it's the energy that comes out of that because I don't want you folk getting on that energy because it comes from somewhere to even mention it back up. And of course, we have our conversations, we kiki, and we have all that stuff. But some of that stuff just don't make sense, and it's not worth the
it's
time and
not
energy
worth
we
the
put
time.
into it.
So I might be looking at always on a daily basis. I look at research papers on what's coming out and the new technologies in healthcare and everything. But at the same time, I look at what our people are focusing on.
I can't
Again,
help them. I can only
we
pull up. I can
we
only.
have 2%.
But
We only have
isn't
2%.
it kind of- I can
You
only.
know how many? Do you see how many people are in our Slack and on this channel with all this great information that we have? We have 2,000.41K subscribers. That's how many subscribers
And
we
part of
have.
that,
Do
and
you
part of
know how
that,
many? Do you know who we worried about? Those 2,400 and subscribers that we have that come here specifically to hear what we have. Period. When you are ready, you will go and seek the information. That's why they talk about so much about the law of attraction. What you speak about, you bring about. When Tam sent me a Ferrari, I see Ferrari. Oh, that was a Lambo. Oh, there go. I see it because it's the law of attraction. When I go to the grocery store and say, "Oh, I want to park in the front," and I find a park in the front, it's the law of attraction. Period. Point blank. There is too much information. That's why we say our community is who you can reach, who you can put your hands on, who you can give a seed and take that. All it is planting seeds. And these seeds are waves. You know how data works, you know how energy works. If he goes out there and people come, they come. If they stay, they don't feel like they get it. A lot of people leave and come back because they weren't ready at that particular time. And trust me, I'm a social worker. I got a degree in social work to graduate and offer me a $10 supervisor position. I get it. But I also been in this space long enough to know, and that's just business in general, in church, in life. People will go when they are ready. I'm the oldest, and I'm the oldest child. I'm the oldest grandchild. My cousin, who's we're the top two, he called me and about his sister, and he was like, "D, I need you to talk to her." Blah blah blah. I don't know where her head is at right now. Da 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 da. I called her, had a conversation. I said, hung up with her. I said, "She not ready. When she ready, she'll do better. She's not ready." Now you look at her, totally different person.
But we all know the stats. That's the problem. We
But the
all
thing about
know
it is, what
the stats are bad. We all
they
We
know
know
always
the
been
stats.
bad. They're
We
gonna
know the
continue to be
stats.
bad.
they're bad, but you see the stats
Do
on a
your part.
daily basis.
Just do your part.
We
Worry
ain't
about
worried
yourself
about
and do
that.
your part.
Huh? I
We
can,
Implement what you
we
learn.
know the
Do your
stats are
part
bad.
so that the people that's under that roof right there, they can go and plant those seeds for future generations. Your friends, your family, do your part. I might slip a little something in my cousin chat. Oh, I bonds. This is easy. You only need $25 for I bond. Plant a seed. Oh, trust. Plant a seed. Oh, this, plant a seed. That's all I can do. Oh, hey mom, how much you got insurance? How much is gonna cost me to up that? Because I needed to be at this. Plant a seed. Get everybody in motion one step at a time. Everybody is not ready for all these reasons we already know. Socioeconomic, racism, generational, blah 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 blah. It's overwhelming. But do your part. Do your part and do your part well. And that's the charge. Everybody do their part. That's
Yep.
why I always say, I post in the chat, bring a friend. Tell your network about us.
Yep.
Each one teach one.
Yep. And that's why I wanted to create like basic steps. That's why I said what can be in an estate portfolio. Do you know that in your portfolio that you can set up a trust and funnel money into that trust and then leave specific directions for that trust? Be like, if you're going to use this trust, you need to go to school to do X, Y, and Z. I have allotted money for you to go to school to do X, Y, and Z. If you don't do that, then you don't get this. Oh, you removed them.
No, he said he thanks for
Oh, you had
saying
to
he
go.
removed
Oh, okay.
himself.
I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, should I removed them? Damn.
I swear y'all think I'm a gangster. I ain't.
Facts. It's a billion people with a cell phone, internet, and broke, and it's too much work to it's too much work to have everybody. So I pulled up some more stuff. I got more stuff. I know we didn't finish everything, but OpenShift. We talked about OpenStack. I went ahead and pulled up some stuff with OpenShift, and then I'll go over OpenShift as well too. I'm working backwards. If you didn't know, right? I'm showing you the entire cloud infrastructure, and we're gonna work backwards. We're gonna work all the way backwards, all the way down to the data center itself. So give me some time. I'm gonna try to get this knocked out in 30 minutes. It's gonna be a lot to intake, but I think you got it. All right, so we got software engineer. And this is all my search with OpenShift at 150,000, right? And then we got senior DevOps engineer, right? A platform engineering engineer, senior OpenShift DevOps. We got .NET developer, remote senior developer from 200 to 225. Senior engineering, senior advisor. And again, this is just a general ballpark. This ain't not in, you know, written in blood. Now, let's go over here to LinkedIn because LinkedIn has LinkedIn jobs. And I get a filter of jobs that come over, right? Because I just want to see. I play around with their filters and see what they have, right? Um, you got QVC, you got senior infrastructure, Rust, cloud engineer, Onyx, this, that, and other. So now let's type in OpenShift. And you can do the same thing with LinkedIn. You can do the same thing on all the other ones. But just to give you a ballpark view of what's out there, you change your experience level, on site or remote. Let's go remote. Let's go remote. Show. All right. And then remote OpenShift 130, 180, 401k. And then you got some down here that said for CarMax that's 60 or 70, but again, it's in Richmond, Virginia. Then you have 180 to 220. Then you have here Target, and Target is based out of Minnesota, FYI. That's what's there. Then you got this remote down here with Nielsen, and the list goes on, right? So again, when we're looking at these, again, these are ballpark. They're not necessarily all of the way true as to what they're offering, but it also is candidate dependent, right? I've seen jobs be anywhere from 200, 300 to 500, 600 to whatever, right? Um, Let me go back over here on LinkedIn because there was a job that actually had came up. And let me look at X4 technology. They actually had sent some stuff over earlier. Let me see. I can't remember that person's name. I think they had sent one over here. Let me go look at their post here. Feature, octane, comment, activity. See, show activity. I may have to go back to my sharing. All right. So I'm gonna blow this up. This is what I be talking about, right? I'm looking for a senior network engineer with layer one switching experience on behalf of quant trading firm in in New York City. The position would suit a senior engineer looking to move into a lead role, and the compensation is roughly between 400,000 to 500,000. Does that sound interesting to you? Right? Thank you for the super chat. Always intentional. Thank you for the super chat. Right? Let me see if they got another. If he had another one here from X4. Okay, here's one right here. They have a senior DevOps engineer for a quant firm, DevOps senior systems engineer, and they're looking to pay 180 to 250 plus bonus. Let me see if they got any more information under here. Nope, just got a link to the position. Senior DevOps again, 180 to two something. But look and see if they got any more. All right, they got a blockchain infrastructure engineer, 160 to 230. X4, 160 to 230. All right, that's him. So let's go back over to some of the other ones for X4. We go back. Let's click on not that. Let's click on, I want the people. It's the jobs. Let's see all people. My guy, he don't work there no more. Is where's the black chick at? Let me see. I don't see her on here. She be having a lot of jobs. I don't know. I have to look and see what she has. Let me see. Activity. Show all activity. All right. Oh, it's in another language, but it's a cloud engineer. But it's another language. Let me see if they got anything that stands out. DevOps engineer, 375, 400. I forget that French or what have you. Let me get out of that. But I think you get the gist of where I'm going with this. Um, the money is out there. Uh, how you see yourself and what you're seeing for yourself is really on you. Um, but it's also about talking to people. So a head of HR for an established $500 million AUM buy side trading firm, pay can go between 250K to 300 for total comp. This one here is a salary for a Rust developer. It's a hybrid and it's up to 600K. Um, Senior DevOps for quant trading, 180 to 250. Um, and for the right person, they'll bring in some other stuff, right? So those are like some of the ones that I've been seeing. Again, I see salaries across multiple ranges. Like I said before, let me pull up my other ones that had. I had posted them in Slack, but let me pull those up. And you do need clearances with these. I think his name was Donald. Let me get my search. Yeah, his name was Donald. All right, so let me scroll up and let me scroll up. All right, so and then I'll make this bigger. Um, I showed this before. Crystal City. They're looking for a cloud. They're looking for 5 cloud engineers. And their pay is between 180 to 280, and on the higher end they're willing to go a little higher for the right person, so up to possibly about 300 to 320, plus relocation as well too. And of course you do your negotiation for everything else you want to do after that, right? So here's what again I'm talking about. They're looking for 5 positions, right? People reach out to me and say, I need help filling these positions. How can you help me? So that's why we need people to get go through the classes, get the training. Let me talk to you. Let me see if you're ready for it for X, Y, and Z, and then let's roll you into that, right? Um, he also sent over this one too. Um, this one not as high as the other one, but still pretty good. You could be in 4 days a week on site at Charlottesville or Fort Belfort or Springfield. Of course, you need a TS and be able to get an SEI. But the pay is a full stack, but you'll be working with Terraform, Linux, platform as a service with Kubernetes. Same concept. The pay is 190 to 240 with some wiggle room. Excuse me, on the top end of 240, probably going up to 280 with some wiggle room up there, right? So again, the jobs are out there. I like I said, I think on I don't think I know on the Linux side with DevOps and all these other things, you're talking about recession proof skill sets that you don't worry about what's going on with the rest of the world. You worry about whether or not, dang, I wonder if I get this certification, how much more money can I make? Or if I get the certification and I make more money, how do I invest it? Dang, I wonder what's gonna be next for me. Right? Those are conversations that I know at least I have with myself. Um, yeah, you do with some in some of those cases, like I showed you on the other jobs, you didn't even need a clearance. So that's why I showed you two different aspects. Some you need a clearance. Some of those jobs you don't need a clearance. Some of the jobs you could be a contractor, right? So I try to show you different aspects of what I'm talking about when we're talking about DevSecOps platforms, Kubernetes, Rancher, these things. When I mention these things, I try to show you, hey, well, these companies over here are doing that, and these companies over here are doing that, and those companies over there are doing that, right? So I try to talk about it from a multifaceted standpoint, right? We got the OpenStack Ansible project that was they just did their conference in Berlin for the open infrastructure one. Here's OpenShift in the documentation. And you can click on here and you can learn about what OpenShift is and the resources, and you can just click on right here. And then that'll take you to, if you want to try it and so forth, and start talking about what is OpenShift and how does OpenShift work and the products and so forth and so on, right? That's what Red Hat. They also had the Red Hat Summit for with Linux. There's also the SUSE, it was SUSECon that just happened, 2022. The reason why I mentioned SUSE, their open source conference, because most people who deploy Kubernetes in the cloud, they're probably using Ubuntu underneath. And so you can again come here, check out their keynotes and their sessions to see who's using it, right? Keith Basil, General Manager Edge. Just start looking around and seeing what they were talking about, right? This is how you know what's going on, right? What's going on in the world of tech that changes your lifestyle. Tech changes your lifestyle. So cloud solutions, edge computing, enterprise, Linux, IT, infrastructure management, Kubernetes management, open source solutions, and then they have their technology track, business critical Linux, so forth, and then they also have edge solutions as well. Then we have container management here as well, right? Then they go into like different types, best practices. Oh, you want to do a hands-on lab? Here's a hands-on lab on X, Y, and Z. So again, you can look at these conference sessions to find out where technology is going and what people are implementing, which is super important. So because now you start looking at it from an investment standpoint, right? So Remars, Alto and Mel actually presented here at Remars. What is Remars? Remars is Amazon's answer to having machine learning, automation, robotics, space. The four Mars domains are where the next technological leaps are. So I saw somebody posted earlier about the young guy that I think he's 35, 39 in DC. They got that won the was it 39, 34 billion or 13 billion, or I forget what it was, in inside of government contracting. And I've been talking about this for 3 years now, how everybody need to be looking at Space Force. So his contract that he got was with Space Force and the Air Force, because there's so much money being pumped into those areas. We're talking trillions of dollars being pumped into the area, right? And when we're starting to talk about what people are doing in the area, it is a combination of cloud, security, DevSecOps, data engineering, analyzing data from pictures or satellites. That company, I can't remember the name of the company right now, but we talked about them. They IPO'd earlier this year, and one of the things they were doing blockchain on satellites, right? And they were managing, they were hiring people, NGG ground, to work on satellites from and understand how to deploy a cluster or deploy Linux on a satellite, right? And how to interact and download data that you needed, right? That was, I talked about that earlier this year. Edge computing, I'm not going to stop ever promoting edge computing and high performance computing because everybody uses a phone. You all have tablets. That you are all using edge devices every single day. And now with the glasses coming out and the contact lens, you're always going to be on. You're always going to be involved some way. So the question is, how are you going to stop people from just capitalizing off of you versus capitalizing on and you using your skills to capitalize? Horrible work-life balance of these jobs is a myth. High earners have systems in place to make life easier. How when you can afford housekeeping? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that's what people don't realize too, right? I don't know why people have this trope, and I can speak from this from experience. When I was living in Seattle, my guy friend at the time, him and his wife worked, and they were getting ready to have their first child. And he was like, "Yeah, we're getting a nanny, and she's moving in." And so they hired a nanny to move in, and they always had a nanny with them. She moved in, she was in, she cleaned up and she cooked. And they had a nanny that moved in, cleaned up and cooked. The wife worked, he worked. They would spend time with X, Y, and Z. The nanny would take them to the store or what have you. The whole idea of what we think is parenting and what someone else think is parenting is two different things. We did it because I think personally, because we had to, and then the other one is we couldn't afford to, and the other one is we just ain't gonna trust nobody. Whereas on the other side of the map is we're gonna do this background check, we're gonna do these things, and we're gonna have somebody come in that's gonna help us with these kids, right? That's what I see, right? And what I also see, I even see the chocolate babies, belief in them. I see they have help. She got 4 kids, but you see those two white girls come over and babying and holding and helping and stuff like that. You don't see her over there like she don't be like, oh babe, I'm so stressed. She be like, I got help. I got help. She has help, right? She has help. And I don't know why we get up here on these big stages and be acting like, well, she need to be at home and doing blah 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 blah. Like, no, them women have help. They got people that come in and clean. They got people that come in and provide meals and cook. They do a little hobby. Me and Buttercup are gonna make gingerbread houses this week. Like, I'm just saying they have help, and I don't know why we be acting like that. We can't do the same thing. Either we don't trust or what have you, but whatever the case may be, don't act like it can't be done. Mm. Right. I started outsourcing household stuff. I got a lot of friends that they be like, yeah, I have people that come do my laundry or the maid. My guy friend right now, he was like, oh, the maid come on Tuesday, so if you come up, I have her come early so she can clean this, that, and the other. Oh, my guy coming over to wash the car. Oh, I got somebody that's gonna deliver the food. Like, I don't know why you gonna stop all of that when you get a wife. You've been having this wonderful life now. Now when you get a wife, you don't give me the same damn luxuries. Shit. Give me the same luxury. I'm in legal right now and I know more money is being available 24 hours. I'm ready for help. Yeah, like come on. Like we gotta stop this idea of like we gotta do it all or she gotta do it all. Like, come on, we in new times now. It and I looked at the video before. I think Anton Daniels covered it this week, where the lady started selling handkerchiefs, embroidered handkerchiefs, and her husband was doing what is he was doing? He was working on embedded systems, embedded chips. He was doing embedded chips for like Apple or somebody like that. He quit his job, and she's selling embroidered handkerchiefs, making $100,000 a month. He helped her scale her business, right? We got this idea that the man is gonna go out here and he gonna make all that money. Let me be honest with you, black men, y'all dying between ages of 55 and 57. Something got to change. I don't know why y'all want to put all that pressure on yourself. I never understood it. It never made sense to me that where you got all the pressure where you the man. I get because we were built for that. Apparently not. Apparently you ain't built for that. Apparently not. Apparently you ain't built for that. I'm just saying, I'm not saying go 50-50. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm simply saying is this: between the two of y'all should be making your lives easier. You all, I hear all this shit like be his peace. Be my peace.
It ain't hard.
Be my
It's not hard. It's really not.
be my
Like
peace.
it's not that hard. It's, people make stuff so difficult, but
It ain't that
you
hard.
know, hey,
You see, I'm married with two kids and own a business. Laundry keeps our home happy. Yep, our home. I'm assuming that's what you were saying. All right, it's like it's already in your budget. You just add me. Just add me. You should also want these services for your parents. Yeah, yep, yep. It's hard for my mom because she gonna be like, "Oh, they gonna come and steal my stuff." I'm like, Lord Jesus Christ, I don't want your stuff.
my things. She need her
Lord,
things.
your stuff. All right,
Whew.
so that was that. Last but not least, go back and watch the Red Hat Summit. Um, you can go sign up and go watch the Red Hat Summit. Again, that's the OpenShift, OpenStack, Kubernetes, Rancher, those all fall in the same place. Vanilla Kubernetes, security. When I say security, I always go to sans.org. You can go to ISC squared. You can go to CompTIA. I don't care, right? You can go to ISC squared here and check out ISC squared, and they have their stuff there. Yeah, okay. Right, CISSP, SCP, so forth and so on. You can look all that up on their website. Self-paced training, fine training. You may want to look and see if they got scholarships and so forth and so on. Right. The next one that I will also look at is of course the Sands. I've showed y'all that. But you can always go down the route of CompTIA. However, which platform is the best to use when we're talking about I want something that provides an overall solution? So with IT Pro TV, I think I'm still logged in. I guess I wasn't. So here's IT Pro TV. And if I go over here and click on courses, and I click on learning paths, they got an entry level desktop network technology, virtualization, cybersecurity, cloud technology. They got it divided up between novice, intermediate, advanced, and so forth, right? If you go over to Pluralsight, I don't not sure who I am on Pluralsight. Don't get me the line. I have that too, but I don't remember. I think I do. Who I'm with on Pluralsight. Hold on. Let me see. I don't think I'm with this one. I think it's I know this is wrong. But anyway, we just gonna browse and we're gonna go in here. We got business professional, cloud, data and machine learning, IT ops, security, and software development. Right. So you can go under IT ops and look up configuration management. Right. You can look at containers, look at IT automation, virtualization, network architecture, and so forth. Right. Um, if I scroll down here, five free monthly courses from Azure. that they have free monthly courses on incident response and so forth, right? So that's Pluralsight. You can play around with Pluralsight and whatnot. AWS. I showed this the other night when I was on Amazon.com. I'm just gonna go to Amazon.com. And when I was in Amazon.com, I had clicked on all, and then I came down here and I saw courses.
Hi everyone, welcome and welcome.
Okay, D Block. uh,
Close these screens down.
AWS courses. So here's a set of AWS courses that are free, right? From let's look at this here, from machine learning to data analytics to Internet of Things to architecting to DevOps. If I click on DevOps, it's going to give me exam readiness for DevOps. And if I click on the exam readiness for this, it has a set of objectives. It tells me how long, it's 7 hours, and it gets me ready for the DevOps course for AWS. All right. And I figured you could probably take this and spend your 7 hours and then say, okay, what I don't know, I may go apply and go take the class or whatnot. So again, this was on Amazon the other day, and some people say they couldn't find it, right? But I just clicked on here and I was like, hey, AWS courses, what's that? So I clicked on that, and it said AWS courses for free, and that's how I found it, right? They got stuff more than 90 minutes, right? And then it'll give me results. Here's the AWS Cloud Practitioner. A lot of people be asking me, should you do it? Yes, learn any beginning cloud. I don't care what it is. It's time to complete is 6 hours, and then they have all the lessons, the videos, and the slides, and two readings and a quiz. And then go check, and then go take your exam, right? Go take your exam. They got it all right there. Don't keep paying people for a boot camp for a cloud practitioner. It is all right there for you for free. All right. The next one's up. A lot of people ask about GCP DevOps certification. Should you do it or should you not do it? Yes. Do I recommend it? Yes. Any certification centered around DevOps, again, a lot of these exams are vendor specific, meaning you're going to learn how Google Cloud works with DevOps, how Azure works with DevOps, how Amazon works with DevOps. But DevOps is just DevOps. How they do it in their cloud and how they do it in their cloud, right? Again, you can go right here and check out their exam guide, and check out and see what it covers. And then if you really are feeling froggy and you want to know about some free certifications, so I do GCP DevOps certification free. All right, I always type in free. So here at 22, seven best free courses for GCP professional cloud DevOps, right? And this was on a Medium site somewhere. And they have, you could probably follow and start following around and just click on these links until you find one. But what's out there for free is what I would be looking for when you're looking at stuff. All right, next one up is Safari. Safari Books Online. I use Safari. I've been a faithful member for Safari now. Probably, I don't know. I may be at the 20 year mark. I may be at the 20 year mark. I don't know. I was grandfathered in, but you can come in here and look at courses from data and ML engineer, cloud native engineer, system administration, and so forth. If you want to learn and play around with Linux, you can just click on Linux here, and it's going to start a sandbox. So I'm going to hit start. It's going to say prepare an environment, and it's going to come up with, do you guys share the screen? It's going to come up with a slew of just different things that I can play with. So, hello world, when you finish exploring the sandbox, hit continue, right? So now it gave me a bash terminal. It gave me my editor and so forth, but I can literally come in here and start playing with the terminal and PWD to say where I'm at. Let me see the up to roots, and then it gives me just something to play with, right? Just something to play with, right? So again, I am learning just if I want to just learn commands, I can learn commands, right? So let me go back over here, so you can see what else you can do. All right, so in here they have certifications. So you can come in here and you can select a certification track. You can pick by vendors. So let's say you want to do stuff with the Linux Foundation. So they got a Linux system administrator from the Linux Foundation. They have a Linux cookbook. They have a Linux fundamentals. You can take the LFCS. You can also type in RHCSA, and you're gonna find a ton of RH. Let me get out of that. Oh, you'll find a ton of RACSA courses from zero to RACSA. You can choose vendor Van Goot. They also have live training from vendor Sander Van Goot on coming up, so you can take live training as well too. They got webcasts. The information is out there. If you want to learn about Kubernetes, you type in Kubernetes, they have the book, they also have the class, they also probably have the security class and the whole nine. If you want to learn about Rancher, you can do that. Oh, they don't have it in here. They probably got it on the Susie. You can also look up Cisco or CCNA, right? And they have that too. So it is filled with a wealth of information. Pick something and go with it. You can go to Udemy, you can go to Coursera, you can go to Wiz Labs, you can go to any of these things. Uh, O'Reilly and Safari, yep. So again, if I come over here and I look at live events and I do all events, it's gonna post up what events that people are doing. I'm scheduled to do an event with Sam, right? I need to get that back over to her today. And then you could just come in here and click on an event and then be like, okay, I wanna learn about on July the 6th, introduction to Docker and containers. And I'll take that class. Sure. It's got 117 spots left. Sure. All right. Here's Kubernetes in the cloud, how to analyze and process data with Snowflake. Um, Getting started with TensorFlow, the software architecture situation there. Lambda, she's doing ML Ops, Scikit Learn. Melissa McGregor, right? She's doing the ML Ops course, right? It's a 4-hour training. Those have been wondering. She's coming up again to do RPA development with Python. She has another set of courses, right? Again, you're at the next question is how do you become a course provider for these, right? That's another set of money. That's another way to get money as well too, right? Another way to get money is to provide training on someone else's platform, right? It's another way. So you'd be surprised at how you create training and how your name gets out there, and people start having a reoccurrence of your class. And some people, that's all they do is just create training. That's it. That's all they do is just do training. All right. So that was I wanted to get that overview of almost everything: DevSecOps, security, Kubernetes. I didn't do Ansible and Chef, but you can go and Terraform. But I've done them before. You can go look those up, check them out. Terraform from Hashi has their own certification and their path. There's Ansible is free. Terraform is free. Everything that I have mentioned tool wise is free to use, free to download, free to use. There are certain aspects and stuff in those tools that you may need, but most part they're free. All right. That's all I had. D. Yep. That's all I had.
You know, I don't believe you. You felt gypped when we first started.
I
So
still put yep on the
I
other
want
show.
to make sure that you have it all out.
I don't know. The audience tell me that the job was this a lot, not no, maybe could be. What certification, what tech certification position track would you recommend for individuals fashion industries? I'm learning AWS Salesforce. Thanks. I don't know about that because if you're, my first question would be is why did you choose AWS and Salesforce from the beginning? Because somebody told you, or you looked it up, or it appealed to you. I would have questions around that um when you're talking about that because then I'm starting looking at fashion and beauty. I would think you would be on the AI and machine learning side, and because now with people embedding chips and stuff into clothing and stuff and to see how people are acting, what I would thought That's what I would thought. A marketing background, did research on AWS. I want to build. I want to build this. I want to build systems. I'm not sure what that means. Are you talking about marketing systems, research systems? Because that's still on the data side. So it would be AWS and be data. Yeah, yeah. So that data engineering or data something around that side is what I'm gathering out of that. That's what I was thinking. I saw something else somebody said. Somebody else said something. Oh, should you learn OpenShift, then OpenStack? If you don't know Linux, then I would start there first. And I'm not saying get a certification. When I say learn something, that don't always mean go get a certification. Maybe you just get a foundational thing and then hop into it from there. A lot of people are out here are really promoting you all getting certifications. I can't fully say that every job that I have has required me to get a certification. Either you know it or you don't. And certification is uh, a surefire way to say that you studied and you can pass an exam, but it's not a surefire way that says that when you get on the job, you actually know it. So I would learn OpenStack first because OpenStack goes on top of OpenShift, or you can just learn OpenShift and not even worry with OpenStack. The choice is yours. Yeah, the power, may the power be with you, right? You saw the job that was over there for Rust developer. We're learning Rust on Sunday, so somebody may want to be a Rust developer. Somebody may want to be an embedded engineer. Somebody may want to do securing satellites or securing naval ships or maritime ships. IoT devices are everywhere, so it depends on you and where you see yourself. Depends on where you really see yourself. Yep, yep. Don't try, you on your way. It's just you just gotta find that right one. Yeah, so if you're into building infrastructure, it'll be OpenStack. And then once you get OpenShift deployed, most people are deploying applications. So if you're into building infrastructure, then most definitely is OpenStack. Again, and people are looking for people to learn COBOL. They're paying for free training for 12 weeks for people to learn COBOL because people are leaving. For IoT devices, I would look up IoT in fashion. Um, I would literally go on YouTube and I would type IoT devices and fashion. That was actually one of the big things that was actually at the Bitcoin conference was IoT, right? Exploring Australia's IoT through a fashion menswear brand. IoT projects here useful. Um, let's see, and then where would you want your IoT devices to be at, right? Let's see, IoT devices, fashion houses. Let's see. So Lily AI, the role of IoT and fashion technology, what that looks like, right? Retail, IoT wearables, your watches and so forth, right? And so let's go up here, and I like to when I do that, I like to click on images. 'Cause I just want to see what the landscape looks like. So here they have this map, Internet of Things, IoT, fashion, retail, like the new stuff. This is old. That's an old iPod, but they do have that chip inside the shoes and stuff like that, right? Even your toothbrush is an IoT device because it's a Bluetooth that connects back up to your phone to see if you are getting the back of your teeth or what that looks like when you brush your teeth, so you can make thorough brushing of your teeth as well too. Uh, is securing satellites the future because of the space race? It's always been the thing, but it's just not the securing of the satellites. It is the ecosystem that is being built in space that you all are not even paying attention to because of these satellite launches. There's so many satellite launches and so forth of people building out in space, and they're trying to get Wi-Fi going on the moon and doing launches from the moon to Mars. So got to keep up. Yep, IoT. Yep. All right, yeah, Professor Ruckhouse, thank you. All right, people, it's time for me to eat. And drink me some tea. And we'll see what time it's almost 6, so it's about that time. About time to eat. And then
It's
I got
almost 8.
hmm.
It's almost 8.
Oh, yeah. So I hope you had fun today. I hope you got the idea. Engineering cannabis, we can't save them all. Just push them in the honey pot. That's it. They have a soft landing. Just push them in the honey pot. Stop standing there trying to reason with them. Just push them in the honey pot. If they don't want to go, clip them. If they running away, just put a just put a string around their foot and it's take them like a lasso and then just zoom, just toss them in the pot. We tossing them in the pot now, right? No more, we can't hold hands no more. We can't afford to. We can't afford to. Like we got to be honest, right? Even the Hispanics are out earning us. We are the underclass. We are the peasants. We are the peasants,
Last,
right? If you want to look at,
that
um,
last little person struggling in the track and field, maybe racing. That one at the end, you be like,
mhm, we
how'd
struggling.
you qualify?
Yeah, you not qualify, right? No estate, no date. We get it up out of the estate. We're not getting it up out of the mud. I'm pushing you into a pot of honey, sugar, iced tea. That's all it is. All right, D. Any closing words before we get out of here?
Thank you, everybody, for coming out again.
Thank you for the
Another Saturday hanging with us. Hmm?
thank you for the super chats.
Thank you for the super chats. See you on Wednesday. Tell your network, do your work, implementation. Don't try to do this by yourself. That's the purpose of the community. And that's it. Enjoy. For some people are having lunch, some people are having dinner. Enjoy.
Yep. I'll catch y'all. I might slide in and do something on what's that thing? What's that spot? Clubhouse.
Uh,
I ain't did a clubhouse in a long time. Might get on there and do a clubhouse. We'll really get into the McDonald's story. I was just playing. I ain't gonna be that messy, but I could be. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Again, take this to the bank. If you are not ready, when are you gonna be ready? If you know people who are interested in getting into tech and they're still over there on the sidelines watching you, it's only so much you can do. You gotta watch yourself. You gotta watch where you're going. You gotta make sure the lions, tigers, and bears are on your path.
Right.
You
And you're
know,
not gonna get it the first time. It's going to be intimidating. It's going to sound like a foreign language. You are going to be confused thoroughly.
it's okay.
That's all part of learning.
All right, people, y'all be good. Eat some barbecue for me. Make sure y'all don't pass out in this heat. I heard it's hot everywhere. Don't pass out in the heat and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.